What game is it? This is Valorant. So okay, you have had the mango habanero fire. Did not burn me at all.
Hello. It is Wednesday. It's nighttime. It is Wednesday and it's nighttime. Hello, everybody. I've got Oswald here with me. It is Wednesday. It is evening time. It has been raining all day long. I know. Okay. I've got Oswald out with me. He is quite excited, as I mentioned. It has been raining all day long, so someone's got a good bit more energy. Oh God, he's pulling me away. My cord isn't long enough for this, buddy. Oh, so it's been raining all day long today here, and he has not gotten as much outside time as he would like today. Luckily, I now live in a place where I have plenty of room for him to run around and for him to frolic and play. Oh, oh God, that's better. Anyway, hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's having a wonderful Wednesday. As mentioned, Ozzy and I are here. We've got the place to ourselves tonight. Our partner has left town, and so we have it's just us and the cat. So we've got a big night ahead of us because it's been so rainy today. Because it's been so like sprinkly and misty and gray. It feels like a very good day to watch Twilight. Feels like after I stream today, I'm probably going to watch some Twilight. But I wanted to offer up some office hours. I'm going to start trying to do some cheese office hours in which I can just take some general questions outside of cheese class or a specific tasting. But let me actually hang on one second. I'll be right back. I knew an Australian Shepherd Border Collie would have a lot of energy when I picked him up and took him with me. But let me tell you, it's always more than you think it's gonna be. It's always more than you think. So I'm gonna let him run around in the background for a little bit while we hang out in here. Um, Again, I hope everyone's had a wonderful day today. I hope if you're not anywhere near where I am, it was a very pretty day. It wasn't too pretty where I was, but it's starting to cool off a little bit. It's starting to turn into fall, wonderful time of year. I walked to bed last night to find Gilmore Girls on the TV. Just hearing the theme song in the background always puts me in the Halloween spirit. It's always a nice, cozy time of year. But I figured while we would be waiting and hanging out in here, if we don't get any cheese questions in the meantime, I was going to be talking about some updates as some stuff we were talking about yesterday, including updates on what Trump's plans are for the homeless, what's going on in DC right now with, I guess, diet martial law taking place. But we're going to be taking a look at DC as well as taking a look at the. Let's get some music on. It's a little quiet. It's a little quiet. Taking a look at stuff going on with the Supreme Court. I don't know if you are aware, but the Supreme Court is now being asked to take a look at their ruling on gay marriage. The hope is to get rid of gay marriage, or their hope is to anyway. Because we can't have anything nice. We can't have anything good in this world without conservatives and Republicans trying to take it away and ruin it. You know, MAGA loves to get rid of whatever they can and don't like through force without addressing any of the root causes that actually lead to these situations. I mentioned yesterday how alarmed I've been moving. Someone got upset. How alarmed I've been moving back to my hometown and finding out that there are police just everywhere. I was walking Ozzy this morning. We were walking around and we turned the corner and across about a city block, I'm able to see 5 different police cars of different shapes, sizes, varieties. Some of them are, the college campus police that are hanging out and hanging around. There was 1 or 2 sheriffs that were there, but at the same time that I'm seeing so many police out and about and present at every opportunity I'm out in the world. As they are doing that, the city is also doing voting right now, I believe, on whether or not they are going to be rounding up our own local homeless and sending them to facilities in the same fashion that they'll be doing in DC. Which it's always it's always heartbreaking when you see these things happening on your direct doorstep. I read that and felt very sick to my stomach that was happening here, especially as I've been walking around downtown and I see quite a few of these people and say good morning to them, and they're perfectly nice and pleasant people, and there's plenty of reasons as to why somebody ends up being in the situation in which they are unable to maintain consistent housing. I was listening to an interview with somebody earlier whose house burned down, and what do you do about that? Hopefully insurance is able to help and take care of things, but What if it isn't? You know, sometimes people just have bad luck, and with no social safety nets. What's up, buddy? Yeah, do you want to take a little nap? Yeah? Come on. You don't want to take a nap? It's your nap time, though. Come on. Ozzy, place. Yeah, thank you. Good boy. Lay down. Thank you, lay down. Anyway, what was I saying? Not addressing any of the root causes. So like you're able to invest all this money into as much military style police force as you would like, but at the same breath and at the same time, you are unable to do anything with your homeless population aside from threaten to lock them up. It's abhorrent. It's disgusting. It's predatory. It's a complete exploitation of the most vulnerable, as well as the oftentimes mentally ill and people who again need help. But when there's no social safety nets, and again you have just bad luck, what are you left to do? You're not you're not in a position where it's easy to lift yourself up by the bootstraps, as a lot of these Nazis like to say. Anyway, cheese is pretty fun. I like cheese a lot. There's all kinds of different cheeses. There's cheddar, there's Goudas, there's Swiss Alpine style cheeses. Those are my personal favorite. I like the Swiss Alpine styles. Really good for melting, really good for baking into grilled cheeses, really good for making into like macaroni and cheese sauces. They offer a lot of flavor development with a lot of times not as much salt as a lot of other cheeses tend to have, especially your harder cheeses like Parmigiano. And one thing that we could do is just distribute the cheese caves, the food that we have in the cheese caves here in the U.S. Let's see, what are the numbers again? I haven't looked it up in a while. They might have updated. Springfield, Missouri. So they're limestone caves that have been converted into massive storage facilities, but the caves maintain 36 degrees Fahrenheit, and the stockpiles of government-owned cheese comprise the country's like 1.4 billion pounds of cheese, I think the number is. So we have 1.4 billion pounds of cheese. How many pounds of cheese does a person need a year? I actually have never looked this up before. How many pounds of cheese are needed to survive a year? Long-term food storage, UGA College of Family and Consumer Sciences. Let's pull this up. Let's go to Little Face. Little Face. Whee! Here we go. I'm all the way down here now. Right. So we've got let's see, bulk staples. One approach to store bulk staples along with a variety of canned and dried foods. Wheat, corn, beans, salt, purchased in bulk. Fairly inexpensive and nearly unlimited shelf life. You could survive on years on small daily amounts of these staples. The following amounts are suggested per adult per year. So this is for your general needs in terms of nutrients. The amounts that you would need per year to consume. So we have wheat, 240 pounds. Powdered milk, 75 pounds. So I assume, how much milk do you get out of 75 pounds of powdered milk? How much milk for 75? 75. How much milk for 1 pound? That's an easier way to do that. Of powder. I cannot type. Let's see. AI overview without my consent told me that 1 gallon, 16 cups of water, 4 cups of powdered milk with 16 cups of water. All right, so about a 4 to 1. That's not too bad. So you get quite a bit of milk out of that. 240 pounds, 240 pounds of corn, 5 pounds of salt, 120 pounds of soybeans, fats and oils 20, and 180 grams of vitamin C. Important to have vitamin C. Oh, perfect. Amounts of suggested quantities for one adult for 1 year. You got to ration this, but. All right, so that's 17 pounds. That's 42 pounds, 42 pounds. I'm just going to pull up my calculator because I'm too lazy to try to keep track of all these numbers in my head right now. I say as I scold the youth for loving ChatGPT. At least this requires me to type in the numbers. You know, I get that. I get a little bit of that anti-dementia training. If you're looking to make sure to avoid dementia, Alzheimer's, one of the easiest things you can do on a day-to-day basis is maintain working on puzzles, use chopsticks, 0.5, play video games, maintain as much of that as you can. Let's see. So far up to, so we have 181 pounds of food would be required for a year. Let's say, because we're just having cheese, that's the only thing we're eating for an entire year because we're only eating cheese for the year. We're going to go ahead and say that we need 250 pounds of cheese per person per year. All right, so we need 250 pounds of cheese per person, and there is, well, most estimates say around like 800 to 850,000 houseless people across the country. So we're going to say 250 times, we'll up it to 900,000. We'll go on the maximum amount for each option. That's 225 million pounds of food. So just based off the cheese stores alone, each person could eat their a shit ton of cheese over the course of a year, and you know it won't be the most luxurious or the most healthy lifestyle for you overall. We'll make sure that you get some vitamin C to mix in there to prevent scurvy, but that covers all houseless people for an entire year. We have 1.4 billion pounds of that as of like a year ago. Actually, I think the last count was probably done about 3 years ago at this point. So I would imagine we're probably upwards of 2 billion pounds at this point. That's so much cheese. Cheese has always been a good peasant food. We love our peasants. Yeah, imagine we could give that food to people in Gaza. That would be lovely. Anyway, so the point is we have the resources to be able to provide for everyone that we want. We simply choose not to, and in order to maintain the oppression and continued debt slavery of everyone in the country. Anyway, let me know if anybody has any cheese questions. I love talking cheese. Wee. Hey, Oz, don't do that, please. Nah, don't do it. No, don't do it. Oh, poor guy. The Twilight season is certainly hitting hard. All right, we're going to turn off the Pokemon music, and I'm going to go ahead and start talking about actual things. To start with, we're talking about the Supreme Court being formally asked to overturn landmark same-sex marriage ruling, coming from ABC News.
10 years after the Supreme Court ruled in favor of same-sex marriage across the United States, it could now be overturned. Senior Washington correspondent Devin Dwyer is on the story for us. All right, give us the deal, Devin. Who is actually asking the justices to overturn this?
Well, in recent years, Kira, we've been waiting for a case like this as some of the sentiment in the country has started to shift a little bit, softened rather, against same-sex marriage. There's been a lot of talk about whether the justices will get a chance to reconsider the case. And as you said there, they are getting that opportunity next month. We've learned that Kim Davis, she's that Kentucky clerk from back in 2015 that was at the center of international controversy when she refused to issue marriage licenses to a gay couple in Kentucky in defiance of the Supreme Court. She spent 6 days in jail. She lost a defamation suit. She had to pay $100,000 in damages, $260,000 in legal fees. That's what she's appealing to the Supreme Court, but it's the first time, Kira, that anyone has technically asked the justices explicitly to overturn Obergefell v. Hodges, which was that landmark ruling. And she does just that. Her counsel in this petition, which was filed last week, says that decision was egregiously wrong. And if that sounds familiar, that's the same type of argument that was made by opponents of abortion when they sought to overturn Roe versus Wade just a few years ago. So a lot of eyes on this petition. It's unclear whether the court will take it up, but certainly a lot on the line.
It's crazy that you have so many. I think that's a little bit better. Yeah, that's a lot better. We have another lamp now. It's a little bit brighter in here in case anybody watching isn't watching and instead just listening in. Let's go back to Little Face. I hope I'm able to provide some nice little earworms for you, for anybody joining us tonight. But there's a Supreme Court case right now in which a sad woman is trying to ruin and destroy the lives that so many people have built simply due to their own hatred and their own, again, sadness. When we look at things like fascism, and we look at those who would take rights away from other people's, and that would strip other people of their autonomy. A lot of the time, or at least every time I've been able to tell, it stems from some kind of psychosexual, some kind of internal frustration, some kind of internal problem with self that is just being put out there. It's all in line with sexual purity due to the fear of being shamed, I guess, for your desires, for fear of whether you're homophobic, whether you're transphobic, whether you are racist. It comes from a not understanding and a fear of your own insecurities, or rather your own insecurities being brought to light. This is like the idea of so many trans people have to deal with the idea of being fixed, as if they are simply they haven't been dicked down in the right way, and so they don't know what it means to be a woman. Therefore, there's a sense of correction that stems from honestly the purity culture side of things. And when you hear them discuss these problems, they always talk about the filth. They always talk about how these situations are like bedlam. The far left wants absolute chaos to reign supreme, to indoctrinate your kids into absolutely horrible, terrible, awful situations. They want to dirty their minds. And this, again, purity culture, or this purity need of cleanliness, cleanliness rhetoric, and I think at least, stems back to that sexual frustration of wanting things to remain pure due to the fear that if you have sex with a woman, they'll have expectations if they have previous partners. You want a virgin because you're worried that you might not be able to please somebody as well as somebody else has, and so therefore you're going to simply own a woman, so that way you don't have to worry about them being interested in other men, because they don't have an option. You simply get to own them and make that decision for them. When you look at transphobes, I hear a kitty. I hear a kitty in the background. Sorry, I got distracted. I heard a little kitty yelling around. Nimbelina. Nimbus. No Nimbus? All right. So anyway, when you look at transphobes, you know, a lot of the fears that they have in dealing with trans people is confusion about their own sexual desire, and you know, the main talking point that I've ever heard when talking about trans women is being afraid that they're going to trick men into sleeping with them, because that's all they have an interest in doing, I guess, is their thought. But they're afraid that they're going to get they're going to have sex with a what they don't consider to be a woman due to their own prejudices, despite the fact that they don't apply that same logic to anything else in their life. But it stems from that same homophobia. It stems from their, again, not understanding of biology and the way that the human body works and the human brain works. And I'm not saying that I have the foundest grip on these things, because I'm a dumb cheesemonger. However, it's all studies that I've seen, or at least most recent studies that I've seen, show that gender identity is established partially in utero for about a third of the time during pregnancy is working towards establishing that, as well as from ages about 1 to 3 through socialization. Your gender identity is established in your brain. Gender identity is simply the way that your brain understands gender, how it's the way that your brain internalizes social schemas in a way that makes sense to it. Our brains constantly try to make things easier for us, try to shorten things for us, for better or for worse. You know, sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes that's a bad. But like if the best definition, for example, for woman that I have found is any adult person whose gender identity aligns with their personal schema of the female sex. So with a definition like that, you're able to include all cis women, include all trans women, you're able to exclude all cis men, and you're able to exclude all trans men. You know, it's the best all-encompassing definition that I've heard thus far. And it would be the same thing for trans man, just trading out woman for man. Man would be an adult person whose gender identity aligns with their personal schema of the male sex. Now, this also stays away from the biological arguments that you hear people make, as this works off the self-identification model of gender identity, as opposed to trying to find a specific criteria through biology that will apply to all cis women but will not apply to trans women. Unfortunately, human biology and the human experience is just too diverse to be able to maintain any kind of consistency through those standards. There's always going to be exceptions, and if there are exceptions, then you cannot have it cannot be a requirement. Or rather, if it's an exception, if there is an exception, then it is not necessary. Anyway.
Well, is there any indication that justices will consider hearing arguments?
A lot of the legal experts I've talked to say there's no chance the Supreme Court will want to wade into this. But, you know, the climate that we're in right now, anything can happen. Certainly, we are in the midst of a campaign against same-sex marriages across the country. At least 9 states so far have either passed legislation seeking to end those rights or specifically asked the Supreme Court, send resolutions to the Supreme Court, asking them to revisit. You saw the Southern Baptist Convention, the nation's largest Protestant Christian group, just last month. They voted to make overturning Obergefell a top priority. So there's a renewed effort by activists in this space to try to get the attention of the Supreme Court. And a lot of them, Kira, are pointing to comments by Justice Clarence Thomas, the senior conservative, who after the Dobbs decision, the one that overturned abortion rights in this country, he said in his opinion that he thinks it's time to take a look again at marriage rights. So anything can happen. It's on the table, but most legal experts think that the chances are less likely than not, Kira.
Got it. Devin Dwyer, thank you.
You bet.
Could same-sex...
Well, that's lovely. I love the idea that we abolish gay marriage and get rid of all. What does that mean in terms of like taxes? How is that actually implemented? Is every gay marriage that took place instantly annulled? What do you do about like bank accounts? I feel I'm gonna lose my mind when I see gay Trumpers still supporting the, because I mean there are gay people that are a part of the same mind virus cult that no matter what they do, they won't actually change their opinion on things simply because they're too far in at this point. They've fallen for the scam. They can't afford to have egg on their face. Everyone's gonna die in 6 months anyway. Why would they care about addressing these things? But the number of gay Trumpers that are out there is truly alarming. And unfortunately, that combined with the number of anti-trans LGB community is all too prevalent alongside that. So I am disgusted by the idea that same-sex marriage would be overturned. There's no reason for it. It stems from religious extremism. It stems from religious fundamentalism. But I did see a little snippet of this video that came out earlier, and it's about specifically it's it's titled "The Three Stages of Debating a Trans Activist," and this goes through at least one thing. I know the person that's interviewing was lying to them about, but it's a very bad faith interview. But the thing that caught my eye was it covers a lot of talking points, and so I thought we would go through and talk about a couple of those.
No, I know plenty of people who are trans, and it's one of the most painful processes on earth trying to get the hormones you feel like you need.
That's not true.
Like that is true. I don't think I've heard of a single case where people are getting fast-tracked into the...
I can walk you across the street to come talk to Chloe Cole here, who had her breasts cut off when she was 15 years old.
I wrote a whole article on it, plenty of examples. Mentally unstable, 16-year-old.
Oh, Chloe Cole. I don't care about Chloe Cole. She's a person that had a double mastectomy at 15 years old and has since then detransitioned and made her entire life trying to ruin the lives of trans people since then. Just another hateful person. But I really like this usage of bringing your example around with you to your debate, of saying, hey, here's the person that I'm using as an object today. Here's my example I brought to the class of a person who detransitioned, as if the opposite side wouldn't be able to provide dozens of people that didn't detransition. Like, okay, cool, you found one person that did. Congratulations. I'm excited that you did that, but cis kids, cis girls, cis boys, they're able to get boob jobs, they're able to get mastectomies. Like the idea that this is ridiculous just because the kids are trans is simply transphobic and goes against the 19th Amendment. Or not 19th, which one is it, the 15th? No, which amendment is it? Which amendment is it? 17th? Oh yeah, it was the 19th. I was right. I need to have more faith in myself. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say about the 19th Amendment. But yeah, they would deny. Oh yeah, because yeah, yeah. The 19th Amendment protects people based on their sex, and now with the EEOC expanded definition, also their gender identity. So, I again really love just the bringing of Chloe, or what is it? Chloe? Yeah, Chloe Cole to this, and to be able to say, all right, here's a person that cut their boobs off and had regret later on in life. The regret rate for trans youth overall is about 1 to 3% by the most conservative to the most maximized estimates, which is incredibly low. What is the regret rate for hip replacement or knee replacement? 10 to 20%. The idea that 1 to 3% are dissatisfied with a medical procedure is incredibly laughable to actually have a problem with. If you're not going to have a problem with any other medical procedure that has a regret rate of 1 to 3, or yeah, more than 1 to 3%. Also, a lot of the medical procedures and treatments are reversible that's involved, specifically in gender care for youth.
Sounds pretty
Being
anecdotal to me.
recommended
The practice has changed in recent years. It's
mentally unstable 16-year-olds.
That sounds pretty
being
anecdotal to me.
recommended.
That sounds pretty anecdotal. They're right about that.
has changed in recent years. It's gone away from the mental health approach with therapy to immediate affirmation only.
I don't think that's true.
Okay, I understand why you would feel that way. I totally get it. But it's just not the case. And in fact, WPATH, which
Okay, can you give an example?
is the World Professional Association for Transgender Health, they just had their annual conference in Montreal. Some protesters stood up in the conference to say that they need to abolish all therapy completely before any surgical or medical interventions. And they all received a standing ovation, including from the leadership. We've got Laura.
Okay, that's cool. That's not really making the argument. Like, what is people cheering for the abolishment of all gender treatments have to do with whether or not youth should have gender affirming care?
Laura Edwards-Leeper, who founded the first gender clinic in Boston 15 years ago. She brought the Dutch protocol over here. She trained under the experts in Holland who started what's called the Dutch protocol. She brought it over to the US.
Grammarly.
Oh no, I'm on the wrong account.
No, I know plenty of people who are trans.
Where they were allowed to reduce the age for cross-sex hormones from 13. Who founded the first gender clinic in Boston 15 years ago. All therapy completely before any surgical or medical interventions. Annual conference in Montreal.
There we go.
Protesters stood up in the conference to say that they need to abolish
There
all
we
therapy
go.
completely before any surgical or medical interventions. And they all received a standing ovation, including from the leadership. We've got Laura Edwards-Leeper, who founded the first gender clinic in Boston 15 years ago. She brought the Dutch protocol over here. She trained under the experts in Holland who started what's called the Dutch protocol. She brought it over to the US. When they brought it to the US, they ignored some other requirements and they started giving hormones to kids younger because under the Dutch protocol, they said don't give them to them until they're 16. But they'll do it here at 13. Johanna Olsen Kennedy at the Children's Hospital.
We don't work under the Dutch protocol. We work under the WPATH.
Los Angeles just received a $5.7 million grant from the NIH where they were allowed to reduce the age for cross-sex hormones from 13 to 8 years old if the kid's already in the certain tanner stage of puberty.
Would you
anyway,
agree with?
Okay, yeah. As the person just said there, if they're already in that stage of puberty, like that was a lot of smoke and mirrors to just end on like a completely reasonable medical like there's no reason to have a problem with that if they're at that stage of puberty. Like if the goal of hormone blockers are to block hormones so that you can wait for your body, and like again, cis kids are able to get this treatment. If a child starts developing too fast, they can be given hormone blockers from their doctor in order to slow down that process. And there's plenty of reasons as to why this might happen, whether that's due to social conditioning and not wanting to be made fun of, or rather socialization, whether that's due to body dysphoria, and it's a matter of treatment, because cis people also experience body dysphoria. But again, we offer gender affirming care to cis youth all the time, and it's not an issue there. However, the issue here is that it's that they're trans, and that's inherently bad. Apparently, that's apparently a terrible thing. But yeah, what did he end with again?
Cross-sex hormones from 13 to 8 years old. If the kid's already in the certain tanner stage of puberty.
Yeah, if the kid's already in the certain tanner stage of puberty, and then he's immediately cut off and interrupted by this other guy, because this other guy, I assume, realized what he just said, and saying that they're trying to change the age from 13 years old to 8 years old. If the kid that is needing the medical treatment has already reached the proper puberty stage as a part of the Tanner puberty stages system. So that makes complete sense. If you're trying to block hormones because they're reaching a puberty stage at an earlier age than they normally should or is intended to, then that's exactly what the purpose behind it is. But again, he gets interrupted and doesn't get a response, a chance to respond to that.
But anyway, the point is
with doing this stuff later, maybe.
Whenever the person wants to do it.
So whenever.
Yeah, I don't give a about my body. Here's the crazy thing: is that every single medical organization, reliable medical organization in the United States at least, disagrees with your point and says that it is perfectly fine and healthy to give these hormones to kids if they ask for it.
So the AAP is ignoring calls from within their own body to do a systematic review.
But what does the AAP say?
What we're asking the AAP to do is a systematic review of all the studies that have ever been done, because this is done in Sweden.
If that happens, if that happens and the AAP comes back after that systematic review and says, we think this is totally fine, we think that this is completely healthy and a reasonable thing to do, will you then support it?
I want them to follow the science. If the science supported this,
it does.
What about
they are following the science. They're following the most up-to-date science possible, which is currently working off the W path and working within the Tanner stages of puberty. But because that science doesn't line up with the science that you prefer, it's not going to be you're not going to accept it no matter what they say. Again, I like this person in between them, as well as it sounds like other people on the other side of the camera here, who's also trying to interject and distract him from the conversation taking place. But so far, this person has only offered up smoke and mirrors, and when questioned on what he actually believes, he deflects with saying what they are demanding or expecting of the AAP to do, which feels pretty disingenuous.
Do me a favor, go to my Twitter account. You'll find an article written by Lior Sapir.
Go to my Twitter. I'm not going to your Twitter. I'm not going to your Twitter. I wouldn't go to his Twitter either. I don't want to see what's on his Twitter post Elon taking over.
I'm not going over 15 different studies.
It does.
What about
it doesn't. Do me a favor, go to my Twitter account. You'll find an article written by Lior Sapir.
I'm not going to do that.
I'm not going over 15 different studies. These are the studies that Jack Turbin used to justify
thank you.
Kids.
Thank you for the link.
This is the science, my friend. I'm asking you to read the science.
It's not a science.
That's not a science. Like, less than 1% of people
you don't even want to read it. You say you want to follow the science, but you don't want to read the science.
I don't want to read your bullshit science. No, I don't.
Yeah, so he's offering one article in response to the other person offering all of every medical association in the country, whether that be the whether that be within information within the DS5 put together by the American Psychological Association, whether that's the findings of every endocrinology center across the country. Like you saying go to my Twitter and read this one article doesn't really make me give a shit about you or what you have to say. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm insane. I don't think so though.
I think it's bull science, and I don't give a
Credit.
I know it's bull science.
All right. So if you look at the most recent study into gender dysphoria, they followed 139 boys from the age of 5 all the way into their 20s. 87.8% of them saw their gender dysphoria desist when they went through puberty. 64% grew up to be gay. The Academy of Medicine in France just came out a few months ago and said it's impossible to tell which of these kids will see their gender dysphoria go away and which will not.
They're not doing surgeries on
all
kids
the studies
who
we
are
have
under
into
18.
this.
You can't.
Yes,
No,
they
they're
are.
not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
All right, so stage 1 is it's not happening. So hang on, what all just happened here? Several
When they
things
went through
happened.
puberty, 64% grew up to be gay. The Academy of Medicine in France.
That was so that was a really fun.
Boys from the age of 5 all the way into their 20s. 87.8% of them saw their gender dysphoria desist when they went through puberty. 64% grew up to be gay.
Okay, so it feels like they're implying that there's something wrong with being gay for one part. It also feels like this doesn't have anything to do with the argument. I like the camera guy in the back here, who's like, "Huh? What does this have to do with anything exactly? I don't quite understand, to be honest with you." he looks baffled by that one. He looks really confused. So yeah, again, that's a lot of flair for not really offering anything substantive to the conversation. You threw out a statistic, or you threw out a number from one paper that you have that talked about body dysphoria, but doesn't actually address anything to do with trans people in general.
The Academy of Medicine in France just came out a few months ago and said it's impossible to tell which of these kids will see their gender dysphoria go away and which will not.
They're not doing surgeries on
all
kids
the studies
who
we
are
have
under
into
18.
this.
You can't.
Yes,
No,
they
they're
are.
not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are. That's right. So, the idea that they're having they're doing surgeries on all these kids under 18 is absolutely ridiculous. And I guess I'm part of the problem. I'm victim to stage 1 right now. I'm denying it happening right here on Twitch. Absolute horseshit. It doesn't happen for every child under 18 years old. Also, just because you have a surgery doesn't mean that all of your problems are going to be solved and your dysphoria is going to go away. A very simplistic view of looking at things. Hate to bring up the knee example again, but if you get a knee surgery and have a knee replacement, do you expect to never have pain in your knee again in your life? No, you'll probably have pain again at some point. I would imagine it's probably going to be considering there's a 20% regret rate amongst knee replacements, a very painful pain, potentially even worse than it originally was. But there's all sorts of things and ways that you can treat body dysphoria without actually going through the process of going through surgery. Again, we do this with cis people all the time, and it's seen as normal when we do it with cis people. Girls going and getting boob jobs because their boobs are getting too big. There is one example, a woman or a person going and getting a vaginal plastices because they were born with vaginal agenesis and they don't have a vagina. Like that is considered gender affirming care, and in order to be able to get this kind of actual treatment, there are so many different steps that have to be taken first before you can actually gain anything from it. So for example, we look for, when we're talking about the treatment of gender affirming care in youth, we look for 6 months of what are the three? We look for insistent, consistent, and persistent. Persistent? Yes, but those are the 3 standards that we look for when children are talking about going through gender dysphoria and possibly being trans. This is a medical procedure that is worked through the children, worked with the children on through the parents. Children do not consent to medical treatments or medical practices. Children assent. Children do not have the deciding factor in what happens with them medically. By all means, if by my standard, if you want to be a good parent, you would listen to what your child has to say and offer solutions where you can. Seek out help for them from what help opportunities you have, whether that be therapy, whether that be speaking to different community members, whatever the option is. There's absolutely ways that you can be a good parent and help your children through this, but denying them the care that they need only leads to increasing suicide rates amongst youth, only leads to increasing the trans homeless population amongst the youth. It doesn't do anything to actually benefit them. And to say that this is happening to every single child and every single person is the same fear mongering that you see with the conservatives talking about every single immigrant and every single undocumented being a rapist and a murderer and a pillage. It's the fear mongering is required. They're going to come for you. They're going to come for your women. They're going to shame you. They're going to humiliate you. And the only way that you can stop them is if you violently respond before they have the opportunity to do anything to you. And let's make it as painful as possible for them along the way, it seems.
No doctor in the law. There's no doctor in the United States who will give you who will do an irreversible surgery under the age of 18. That's just not true.
Chloe Cole is across the street. She had her breast cut off at 15. You want to come talk to her?
Mastectomy is that's
You want to come talk to her?
Was it for cancer or was
No,
it for
gender.
That's not true.
Come talk to her.
No.
No, I'm not going to talk to your class pet again. Yeah, you can. Children can get double mastectomies at 15 years old. With consent from a parent. It's a thing that they're able to do. Again, the child only has to assent at that point, which means that they are explained what is happening to them. But it is up to the parents. Like that's the basis of medical law between parents and children in this country. So yeah, I mean, if you want to be a shitty parent and say, I don't want to give you treatment, then I guess you can. But like, you also are also opening the door to having your child go no contact with you, and how can you really blame them?
Sure.
Come talk to her.
No.
Well, hold on.
She's right across the street.
You said something that's objectively not true. We have somebody that can prove you wrong. Literally had it happen to her when she was 15 years old, and you don't want to hear from that.
Sounds pretty anecdotal to me.
I've got video from Kaiser Permanente in Oakland, California, where the doctor is admitting that the youngest patient they cut the breasts off of is 12 years old. It's on video, my friend.
I'm willing to bet you right now that that's an edited video where the doctor was talking about how the person had cancer, breast cancer, and had to cut it off.
Or maybe the child had severe depression.
There's nothing you can do when people don't want to know the truth, right? There's nothing you can do.
Health doesn't matter.
I hope you guys know that in 50 years, when your grandkids are looking at these, they're going to be ashamed of you, just like the.
Do you want to see a Boston Children's Hospital video that I tweeted out where they talk about
defending
doing double mastectomies?
Defending against the cutting up of children is
Here,
the moral
I'll bring it
stance
up for
to
you.
I really believe that you believe that.
They can consent to that, huh?
Puberty blockers? Well, puberty
You
blockers.
know, it's always crazy to me the fascination that these people have with kids' genitals. The way that they want to control these children's genitals and decide what they can and can't do with them is alarming to me. Especially when you consider the fact that in order to actually institute any kind of trans check, it would be by their purview, going and checking the genitals of every kid as a part of the mandatory class system. It's all. I remember talking to people when what was it around the time that Roe v. Wade was abolished, and I was talking to people at the time and saying that it's all fun and games until it happens to somebody that they know. they're going to be fine with people not having the ability to have abortions until it's their daughter who's had an abortion, or their cousin who had an ectopic pregnancy and is on the verge of dying because they aren't able to take the fetus out. This idea that you're not going to be affected by the policies that you're hoping to implement in a negative way is laughable. You're a nobody. You're plugging your Twitter onto your YouTube video. People who are somebody don't need to do that, right? People who are somebody just exude that power, that aura. If you don't already do that, then you're in with the commoners who are going to be a part of the genital check lineup. So I hope you enjoy the fact that your grandchildren, as he said, not only will they be disgusted with you for the opinions that you held and hold, but they're also going to be disgusted with you because you were the person that allowed the people in power, who we already all know are pedophiles, as far as the eye can see, allowed them to go and inspect every child's genitals in order to make sure that the right kid is using the right bathroom when there's no science, or when there's no evidence to support that there's any problem with trans people going into the opposite bathrooms.
Blockers are 100% reversible, so yes.
And top surgeries as well. That's happening for people under the age of 18.
Right, but they're reversible.
They're reversible with zero damage. Is that correct?
I don't know if it's zero damage, but in the majority of cases, it's reversible with almost no damage.
The reason why a lot of them advocate for hormone blockers before puberty is to prevent the testicles from developing. Children that do that are young males, end up with a micropenis for the rest of their life.
Well, if they feel like that's what they need to do, I support it. I think everyone should be able to do whatever they want with their own body. So I support abortion.
Things don't work that way when it comes to 10-year-olds making their own decisions. And literally, you can't drink, you can't get a tattoo, you can't go see rated R movies, but you can cut into your body because you feel like that's the right decision when you're 10.
If your doctor and your therapist agree, then yes, which is what's required in order to do any of that in the United States.
All right.
Exactly.
So
you're saying you can't just go in again. You can't just go in and start getting surgeries. It's a painstaking process that requires a lot of effort. It requires a lot of money. It requires a lot of health insurance. It requires a lot of social safety. It requires a lot of support from those around you, considering every person in this country wants to burn every trans person at the stake. It's an incredibly difficult process, and there's plenty of reasons why people detransition, whether that's due to financial strain, whether that's due to social pressures. But to just say that children aren't able to get this procedure because it could affect them for the rest of their life. Okay, well, are we going to be consistent on that? Having radiation from a young age can have very hard-lasting damage on a child. So do no children get cancer treatment now because there's some potential for harm? No, we don't judge things based off of potential in this way. It's absolutely ridiculous.
There's a video by Boston Children's Hospital.
Pro transgender video.
Okay.
Child transitioning video, just to clarify.
Okay.
In the United States. For top surgery, you are requested, but not required, to have been on gender-affirming hormones for at least a year. Many surgical centers require you to be 18 for top surgeries. We'll see people as young as age 15 if they've been affirmed in their gender for a long period of time and don't really.
So what are your thoughts about that? That's
fine to me.
Well, you said it's not happening, so it is though, right? Okay, so we're gonna acknowledge that?
Yeah, I was incorrect about that for sure.
What else do you think you might be incorrect about?
Well, I'm sure plenty of things.
You were very
Okay, cool. So we're just going to pick one little semantic thing of saying that this is saying that this isn't happening, and then catching him on that and saying, well, I can give you one specific case where it is happening. It's, again, just a very disingenuous conversation. If you're going to be caught up on semantics as small as that in order to try to prove your point, then I don't really want to have a conversation with you. It's very silly to have to deal with. But to now just look at him and say, oh, well, we've been able to prove to you that you were wrong, and that this thing that you said doesn't happens to people that are 15. And when in actuality, yes, it does happen to people who are 15. Saying that it's he, I believe at the time was responding to you saying that's happening en masse and saying it's not happening. But either way, if you're able to get a double vasectomy at 15 years old, again, that's not something that is your decision. That is something that is made in agreement, or that is made a decision made between your doctor and your parents, not something that you have control over. And for them to, again, get hung up on this one little semantic thing of, oh, well, we proved to you that this is happening in this way, so what else are you wrong about? Well, I've been hearing you guys distract, offer up, useless anecdotes this entire time, again, be incredibly disingenuous, lie on several occasions about some of the information that you're presenting to him, purposely portray things in a way that is disadvantageous to this person. Why should we continue this conversation considering y'all aren't able to have one? Considering y'all aren't able to talk to a person, why should we continue this conversation at all?
I about that 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, and like any reasonable person, I can
so
say when I
now
was
do you
wrong.
believe that they cut off the breast of a 12-year-old at Kaiser Permanente, or do I need to show you that video too?
Were they affirming to their chosen gender for a long time, the way they said they have to be in that video?
Well, they don't have to be. They requested.
That's it, as long as they have been.
It is happening, but it's not bad.
Letters of approval for surgery over the phone. There was a Pride Festival.
They just showed stage 2 and they said it is happening, but it's not bad. Okay, so a kid gets their boobs cut off. What's the harm? They aren't happy with that decision. That sucks. There's other medical treatments that can help them. There's potential reversibility from their medical treatment that they've gone through. However, again, it's not the children making these decisions. It's the parents and the doctors that are making these decisions, as well as aside from that. Oh, wait, what was it? What's my other thought?
Over the phone. No, in fact, you can get these letters of approval for surgery.
Oh yeah, it's not happening, or it's happening, but it's not bad. What is? Show me what the bad part is of this happening. I'm sorry that your medical procedure didn't go the way that you hoped. Unfortunately, sometimes that's just the human experience. So I'm sorry that you thought you were gay in high school and it turns out you weren't, and you kissed a boy once and now you're extremely homophobic. I'm sorry that happened to you. Going through exploring your sexuality is just a part of the human experience, what every person goes through.
For the phone. There was a Pride Festival in Madison, Wisconsin a few weeks ago. Someone set up a tent with a sandwich board saying trans or non-binary, free letters of recommendation for surgery. You could just walk up to the tent, get your letter for surgery that you need. Do you think that's the level of safeguarding we need for a lot of these kids who are struggling with other mental health comorbidities?
If they want to transition, then
Do you say Venice Beach? If somebody's handing out doctor notes on Venice Beach, I think I don't think that's something that you really need to worry about. I think that might just be somebody that might need a social worker to come help them out by all best estimations.
yeah.
Okay, so a second ago it wasn't happening. Now you acknowledge that it is happening.
They just showed stage 3, which is it is happening, and that's good.
And it's totally fine if there's no safeguards.
I mean, I don't think there should be zero safeguards. I think there should be safeguards like for any medical procedure whatsoever. But, it's not my choice.
Do you think a 10-year-old can consent to throwing away their future sexual function as an adult? How can they possibly make that decision?
If they've been living their truth for a long time, then yeah. If they've truly wanted to live, let's say if someone's born.
What is the sexual function of a 12-year-old if they killed themselves due to their body dysphoria? Like you're so worried about the sexual function of, again, you're so concerned about the sexual function of these children for some reason, because y'all are, hello, welcome in. I don't know why y'all are so concerned with the sexual function of these children, but I feel like y'all should just get over the fact that you don't understand how medical practices work in this country. Again, it's not the children who are consenting, it's the adults, the parents and the doctors who are making this decision, not the children.
born male with male genitalia, and they want to have female genitalia. And
Welcome in. Let me know if you have any cheese questions. I'm answering any cheese questions. I'm a professional cheesemonger. Outside of that, I'm just watching this debate I have going on. Cheese, when you say leftist, what do you mean socialist? I'm a communist, personally. I'm a believer in communism. I don't see anything ethical from capitalism. I'm a Marxist communist. I don't have a... Yeah. Good times. Yeah, I mean, I don't see a reason to be a socialist or a social democrat as like the end goal of those things, or would be to get towards communism anyway. And if we're going to have as many fascistic people across the country as we do, I might as well be a part of the commie movement. At least with communists, you have a economic system that's based in caring and sharing. You know, you take away the U.S. Red Scare propaganda, and there's some good basis there. All of your views change. Congratulations! Welcome to the good side. It's a lot happier over here. It's disheartening at times. Let me tell you, that's certainly true. But it's I think very freeing to open your eyes. I was part of a little bit more of a conservative side for a little bit, and it was nice to be a part of for, I think, the month that I was a part of it. But I remember getting out of that, the freedom that I felt of being able to not have to just look away from evidence that I saw around me and work off of like emotional pleading and work off of you know, the anecdotes that they throw you. I remember I was really turned. I was really pro-gun for a little bit there, despite the fact that I do not like guns. I got very pro-gun. And through listening to arguments about being pro-gun, essentially, aside from people have the right to own a gun because of the Second Amendment, every other argument that I heard was, well, sometimes, every once in a while, a good guy with a gun stops a bad guy with a gun. And that's a nice story, and it worked out well in my head for, you know, like the storytelling and like the superhero worldview or the superhero world of that Marvel portrays to all of us. It fits very in line with what you would expect and hope. But when you actually look at the facts that a mass shooting happens about every single day in this country, then there's it gets a little hard to continue ignoring that for as long as some people do. Alt-light. Yeah, I've got some Trumpers in my family that go pretty hard. They at least I think one Jan 6er, at least one captain, I think is the term of the Trump club. And you know, again, it's everyone's on their own process and on their own journey. I welcome everybody who wants to change their worldviews to more empathetic and more tolerant things. And plus, that means you get tasty cheese. As far as I'm concerned, we got to do everything we can to keep the tasty cheese out of the Nazis' hands and keep them in our hands. The Nazis, when they were leaving Italy, when they were on their way out, they destroyed everything on their way out. They left with a scorch and burn style. And so as they left, specifically all of the water buffalo that made mozzarella di bufala, all of the cows that made Parmigiano Reggiano, the Nazis shot and killed all of the cows on their way out. Shot and killed all the buffalo. And so there was a big cheese loss for a long time in Italy because of that, along with the land being destroyed, along with them salting the fields. But yeah, Nazis don't get cheese. Leftists and people who, you know, aren't hateful towards trans people and aren't hateful towards other races, they get to enjoy cheese. They get to have the good stuff. Like Hollerhocker, for example, is my favorite cheese. But like I said, though, everyone's on their own journey. I think it's just important where, you know, the destination where you end up, everyone can work to be better and work to better themselves. I know I certainly try to. right-wing populist. Now I'm at anarchism. No better time to take up the anarchism, you know. I mean, hey, we've all got our own journeys. But I mean, I look at work being done, and it's not the democratic socialists that are doing the work that's beneficial. It's not the Republicans that are doing work that's beneficial to people. It's the people that are the anarchists. You have people like the anarchists that are being frontline medics right now, that are currently using their bodies as shields for people who are less apt for protesting. You look at anarchists right now who are offering medical supplies because they know what equipment they need to bring out to protests, as opposed to a lot of the people, a lot of the liberal, social liberal Karens in their suburbs that are sort of coming out protesting for the first time. The anarchists are the ones that are actually putting their bodies on the lines to do their part to protect those people. I don't see Hakeem Jeffries out there. You know, I don't see Chuck Schumer doing anything in order to actually offer assistance, to offer their voices to these people, to offer help to protesters. Instead, they are complicit to the right's demands for more militarized police. They're complicit to the demands when it comes to closing the border and deporting as many illegals, as many undocumented as they can. Like the Republican side is, you know, entirely anti-human, entirely anti-populism, entirely just centralized power as much as possible. And we see that as DC's being overrun by a violent military. Well, hopefully not violent. I don't think they've done anything violent yet, as far as I know. But from what I understand, arresting of the homeless is about to start happening. But like, when people are like brought this option of the two-party system of the American system, like, what the fuck are you supposed to do? Because, oh sure, yeah, I mean, like those political aptitude tests are always a good place to start. But like, when you look at like the options given to you in America, you're presented with Democrat and you're presented with Republican. Now Republicans are anti-human, as said. All of their policies rely on like mass psychosis of fear mongering. You know, it consists of having people that are specifically in more rural places, having people that are outside of like city centers really, really buy into the Fox News propaganda media machine, really exacerbate it to the best of their ability. And, you know, I look at, you know, family members that I don't talk to them every day, but I know that they're watching Fox News every single day, and they've got Dana Bash on their TV in their bedroom at night. And that's what they fall asleep to. That's who they consider to be their friends. That's who they consider to be their family at times. Not, you know, not their children or niece or nephew that's no longer talking to them because of their political views. So I can understand, you know, having frustrations with the right by every means, but I can absolutely understand having issues with the Democratic Party, because what the fuck are they doing to make anything better? I mean, they grandstand in order to talk down to their own base, in order to make their own base feel like shit, in order to virtue signal at the idea that they're going to do something, just to be able to turn around and send out a text that says, hey, you should give me $5 so that we can continue the fight against Donald Trump and continue to not do anything. Like the day after Chuck Schumer was yelling that we will fight, the day after he was yelling "We will fight," he allowed, or rather did nothing about the fact that I think one guard stood at the Department of Education, allowed Elon Musk Doge boys to go in. Like there's no backbone behind anybody in the Democratic Party. Everybody is complicit. Everybody is a part of the corporate machine, the lobbying buyouts that take place to every step of the way. You have all the insider trading that takes place inside of these systems. So like, why the hell would you want to side with the Democrats, who again, after they do all of this, are then just going to turn around back to their base and shit on their base for being too left, for, not voting for them enough, for the amount of people that I heard complaining about all the non-voters or all the people that didn't vote for Kamala Harris or wasted their votes on a third-party person without actually addressing the fact that the Democratic Party did nothing in order to lead up to the election that actually perturbed or actually made the voters feel like they should earn their votes. I think the most consistent issue that I heard people having was the Biden-Harris stance on Gaza, the fact that they were so wish-washy, flip-floppy, and bullshit every step of the way. I had I think an hour-long segment yesterday when I was streaming talking about how Pete Buttigieg is now like the Democrats' answer to how we're going to win the election. They've got him on like the podcast circuit. They've got him grunged up. He's got a full beard now. He's got more of like the military style, like polo shirt, leaning into his military background a bit more. They made him a bit more dirty. They made him a bit more grungy, a little bit more greasy, at least what I saw in his the interview that I saw him in yesterday. And all of this is to cater to the right. They're taking these steps. The Democratic Party is taking these steps to make him more aesthetically pleasing to the right by sending him to these right-centered spaces. And sure, like I understand the need to be able to go into these spaces and try to convert people and try to get your message out there to people. But just going on there and saying, actually, I think we should be holding the hand of Israel through this mistake and this tough time that they're having, and not being willing to call it a genocide is the exact same bullshit that Biden and Harris were doing that lost them the election. So we've seen the Democrats lose the election. We've seen them not give a shit about their base. We've seen them turn more towards the right every step of the way, because at the end of the day, they're a part of the same actual machine. The only thing that's actually going to be beneficial to people in terms of prolonged benefits to them is going to be based on community. It's going to be turning to your neighbors. It's going to be turning to your local officials, if you hopefully have some good local officials. But the I don't see how this ends. Like I was thinking about it yesterday as well. Like Trump is sending in National Guard to DC right now, and they're starting their occupation potentially tonight. They're going to start going. I don't know if it's just going to be National Guard, if it's going to be police that are going to be going out there and arresting people. But if it's the National Guard that are going out and arresting people, that puts us in a very, very different situation of martial law territory. So far, they've been saying that it's just going to be the National Guard assisting police, and that's going to be the National Guard going for ride-alongs with the police, which also the FBI is also going to be doing. Also, this taking over of the DC police by the Trump administration. They started by saying that it was going to be a 30-day experience, we'll call it. And he's already started dropping rumors and playing with the idea that it's going to extend past 30 days, with them saying that it's going to require an act of Congress to make that happen. Who knows if it is, though, because what is the Supreme Court going to do about anything aside from make sure that Trump is able to continue his plan, and that the Stephen Miller plan is able to continue, and the far right plan is able to continue. It's it's very much just looking at the whole system and just seeing that's the same buildup of the same powers of more extraction of wealth from the poor towards the more towards the already wealthy. And what do you do about that? They are the ones that build the systems and have set up the systems. The best we can do is look out for those closest to us and work in whatever space and whatever way that we can towards our common goals. But I got a little bit off topic and was wanting to finish up this video real
Live
quick.
that truth their entire life, entirely.
I'm gonna finish up this video really fast.
Their own choice, then yeah, I do.
So you think a 10-year-old?
I don't think we're going to change. Yeah, he believes a 10-year-old can consent to that. I'm not sure if we're going to change any mind.
I think that there should
Okay, we're
be,
gone. We're off of him. I'm going to end that there then. All right, so he said he's okay with a 10-year-old, so we're not going to change his mind. So we better just end it after we provided no evidence for anything, after we've provided nothing but anecdotes to plead emotionally to the audience that we have, as well as to try to make you look like a monster, to try to make you look like you are as depraved as we are in our bigotry. Absolutely incredible stuff. Absolutely incredible. But with that video being done, if anybody has any questions about cheese in the chat, you're absolutely welcome to send them out whenever you would like. I get distracted and go on tangents pretty easily, but I'm very excited. So I'll say this for the camera a little bit more professionally so I can turn it into a little bit of a clip later. Let's see. High energy, high energy, high energy. On Monday, I'm going to be starting a new program called the Cheese Weeb Book Club. This is going to be me doing a little cheese class, as well as following that, I'm going to be reading the new chapter of One Piece, but I'm going to be doing this every week that there's going to be a new chapter of One Piece. So what does this mean? It means that you'll be able to join in on me teaching a cheese class, going over 2 to 3 cheeses. I recently got a very large chalkboard in the new place that I live, and I'm very excited to be able to use it as a teaching tool, to be able to draw on it. But I hope that you'll join along with me so that we can try cheeses. I'll try cheeses. You'll get to watch me try cheeses. I'll go over tastings. I'll go over where these cheeses come from, who makes these cheeses, what kind of cheeses they are, what that means, what kind of cheeses they are, what that means traditionally, what that means in terms of like how geography interacts with cheese, and how geography interacts with cheese making. All of these things and more while taking your questions. So I look forward to seeing you stop by. Yeah. Anyway, that was my soundbite for the day. Thanks for sticking with me through that. I am glad I got through that video. It's always difficult listening to transphobes try to talk about their points because, again, there's nothing in science that backs up anything that they have to say. I've never heard from them. Oh God, I've never heard from them a decent answer when it comes to their classic like Matt Walsh. What is a woman? I've never heard them be able to provide an answer that works well. Because for every single example that they're able to provide in terms of what makes somebody not a woman or not a man, but I'm just saying women because usually we're focusing on the trans women in these arguments. Anything that they're able to provide that would say that they don't believe that they're women because of this reason, I can offer you a cis woman that has that same condition. So, for example, if your problem it comes down to chromosomes, I can provide you with women who have a chromosome default or a chromosome a condition that gives them the wrong number of chromosomes, and yet they are still considered a woman. If you have a problem with the fact that they don't have the vagina as the way that you see a vagina, as opposed to what it would be medically, if that's your problem, then I can offer you women who are born with vaginal agenesis who are still considered women. If your problem comes down to a matter of gametes, I can offer you women who are able to produce small gametes. Like the human biology is too diverse, and human biology is too unexpected and an individualized experience for you to be able to paint such broad notions, such as this one biological thing excludes these people from the definition of woman. The best definition that I have heard thus far is that a woman is a female person whose gender identity aligns with their personal schema of the female sex. So as far as personal schemas, that generally refers to how your brain organizes things. For example, if you look at a chair, I can give you a definition of a chair, and that chair is a piece of wood that is made out of 4 legs. However, when I say chair, your brain knows that there's more than one option for chair. There can be all kinds of chairs. You could consider a stool to be a chair, that has 3 legs instead of 4 legs. Sometimes it could, potentially be made out of fabric instead of being made out of wood. It could be all these different options, and your brain can understand that there can be multiple things that can be a chair. And so this idea of being ignorant to that, and specifically a trans setting, is by definition transphobic. Pisses me off. Just let people live their lives, That's the problem that I have with the right in general. Like, not to say that Democrats don't have the same agenda at the end of the day. They just pretend to have a little bit more decency while they sell your rights to what's his name? Peter Thiel. Yeah, as they sell your rights over to Peter Thiel and sell your face to Palantir. Like the Republican dogma just requires so much, just like shutting your own eyes to the truth, while just preaching that you have the truth. It's very frustrating to watch. It's very frustrating to experience. I say that as I sit here speaking my truth and say that it is the truth, but I haven't heard any evidence from them, and I know where I can find evidence for everything that I have said so far. Now, what I believe, so from my general statements, I would say, you could probably say that I generally think that Republicans can be split into two categories, or conservatives can be split into two categories. You have the smart conservatives, and you have the dumb conservatives. The only thing that makes a smart conservative is that they are aware that they are on a sinking ship, and they are simply trying to get their own bag. That is the only thing that makes a conservative smart, and that does not make them a good person. You can be smart and do that. That doesn't make you a good person. But there is, I've never seen a situation in which you can be a smart conservative, because it requires you to shut your brain, shut your mind, shut your worldview to so many different things that are just right in front of you, because it doesn't follow in line with what you already believe. It doesn't follow in line with your worldview. Like, oh, we've got animals moving around now. Did we wake up? Yeah? Luffy, you want to come and say hi to the stream? Nimbelina. Nimby Loof. Anyway. Charlie Kirk said something. Oh, yeah. Speaking of transphobes, we'll do Charlie Kirk real quick before I start talking about homeless people. Before I go to the bathroom and start talking about homeless people. Charlie Kirk, this fucker, he's been given the inner circle Trump experience. They've been showing him around. He's been making his waves, but he apparently sounds the alarm. He's been brought onto Fox News, and he's talking about Mom Donnie's inner circle revealed. If anybody here, anybody here has been here before, they know that I'm a big Zohran Mamdani fan. Zohran Mamdani is our baby. He is our sweetums. He is our peaky pookie bear. He is just the most adorable. In fact, I mean, I'm just gonna. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? I'll find it in a second. But apparently Charlie Kirk has a inside scoop as to the inner circle of the Mom Donnie team, and I assume he's going to be bringing up AOC. I assume he's going to be bringing up Rashida Tlaib. There he is. There's our guy. Yeah, zoom in. There he is. And now we do that, and now we have that to look at Now we have that to look at.
So, New York City
for while we listen to this.
Zohran Mamdani resumes his anti-Trump tour today. The New York Times says his plans for free buses and policing were written with the help of other policy aides who, like him, cut their teeth in the Democratic Socialists of America. And until recently, few of the people closest to him had ever worked in the government at all. Like Mr. Mamdani, his aides are notably younger, further left, than the advisors of the rival campaigns. All Democrats, by the way. The Democratic.
Imagine freaking out and having a problem with a lack of experience when that was an entire running talking point of the Trump campaign experience. Like the idea of, oh, he has people that's never worked in government before. I thought that was a good thing. I thought that's what you wanted. I'm sorry, I'm yelling for anybody listening. I shouldn't yell like that. But I thought that we did not want establishment. I thought that the good thing was to have people that were not in government because they saw things a different way. You know, maybe these are business moguls and aficionados who maybe these business guys haven't had how many bankruptcies now? 4 bankruptcies. How many Trump bankruptcies? I can't spell. I've got too many chords in the way. Bankruptcies. 3? 4 or 6 times. That's really cool. Maybe these business aficionados will have a little bit more, maybe they'll be less experienced than Trump even, and that's why they'll do better. Like, again, this idea of because they are not experienced, I thought they won't do well. I thought that was the goal. You've been touting that as a positive for Trump for years now.
Establishment, many have spent years fighting it. Here to discuss it is Turning Point founder, Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk. Charlie, great to see you.
Great to see you, my
All
friend.
right, first off,
gross.
On the rise of the socialists. Yes. Keem Jeffries, not a word. Not a word from Schumer. Dan Goldman. Why not? Where's the leadership?
Well, they're terrified, and they want to be on the right side if he becomes mayor. But it goes to show the dysfunction of the Democrat Party, both here in New York and nationally. And understand, the last couple of election cycles, they were able to quell this kind of AOC socialist base. Bernie Sanders won the primary in 2016, but there were a lot of gamesmanship by Hillary Clinton. He was probably going to win it in 2020. Remember, there were more games with Joe Biden. So that base has been quelled for over a decade. And Mamdani, we're about to hear them roar.
I don't know if there's...
I like this tone of like speaking as though like the left has been like quelled and is been humiliated. Which, I mean, to be fair, like the system hasn't really worked too well towards our benefit. But no, the idea that they're scared of Mamdani, they're not scared of Mamdani. They just know that Mamdani doesn't work in towards their interests. If they're scared of Mamdani, it's because they're scared that Mamdani is going to show the people that they've been misled and that they have been unprovided for, and that the people who told them, or the people that were supposed to keep them safe, instead has sold them out for a quick buck. If anything, Zohran Mamdani will be opening people's eyes to the fact that there's so much more that can be offered to the people, and does not go in line with your corporate benefactors. But they're not scared of Zohran Mamdani. They're scared of the people.
There's a moderate base out there for Democrats, which has got to be scary. So let's take a look at what the Mamdani staff would look like. First, you got his influence of his parents. Dad's over at Columbia, filling up those
Isn't that fitting,
minds?
By the way, of all the it's like central casting.
Right, absolutely. And then you have his mom, a filmmaker. The guy's got some money, and he's got a rent control department.
That's right, and it's important.
The classic, oh, you can't have money and be a socialist. So yeah, so let's look at what they've complained about so far. So far, Charlie Kirk has complained, and who is this other person? I don't remember this friend. He's not a friend to me. So far, they've complained about Zohran Mamdani being inexperienced, which I know is upsetting, isn't it, Oswald? Leave the cat alone. Come over here. Where's your ball? I'll throw your ball for you if you want. Where is it? I don't see it over here. Ozzy, go get your ball. Go find it. So they've so far called being inexperienced a negative, which is, again, a positive if you're Trump, a negative if you're anybody else. Next, they're saying that it's a negative that he has a family, powerful family. Again, generally speaking, in the Trump world, that's generally been seen as a positive. I wonder why it doesn't extend elsewhere. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that he's brown. Maybe it has something to do with that. Maybe it's racially motivated. Maybe it's the fact that he's a socialist or socialist that you have a problem. Either way, the defamation is crazy for a thing that you wouldn't defame your God King for. And what was the other part of it? Oh yes, he has money. Did you find it? Good job, Oswald. Hang on, he found that. That means I gotta do the thing. Yeah, okay, I got it. Oh goodness. Oh my goodness. Let's get the boy a treat. We'll get him 2 treats even. So I recommend these for anybody that has dogs out there. I've been a fan so far. They're the Blue Buffalo health bars. They come from, or I get them usually from Publix. You can find them at Kroger, I think Walmart, PetSmart, but pretty decent bag for a small price. But I take 2 of them, and I take his Kong, his like classic size Kong. I split one hot dog style, and I throw it in long ways. Again, I throw it in hot dog style. That way it falls into this section down here because it's, again, hot dog style. It goes down here. And then I take I already got one. I take a second one, and this one I break hamburger style instead of hot dog. That way, these ones I can lay flat in the top section, and it fills up that space, and it's harder for him to pull out. This took several weeks of engineering. This took many different tries. This took several thesis students to figure out and put together. But this is by far the best system in terms of maximization of enjoyment in terms of from the treat inside that Oswald can experience. So, got to get the other one in there real quick. Yeah. All right. I'm covered in treat. I'm covered in treat dust. Have your field day. Yeah. Lay down. Can you lay down? Good, lay down. Go get it. All right. Go get it. Yeah, go get it. Take it. Get it, buddy. Get it. Yeah, good boy. Good boy. All right, so this whole you've got to be a poor if you're going to be a socialist thing is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely silly to me. Because it would seem to me that there's nothing inherently wrong with a socialist having money as long as that socialist is working towards everybody having money, as long as that socialist is working towards the betterment of all people. Now, if they're going to grab a bunch of money and they're going to take it and run, then that's another story. Or they're going to take it and then they're going to change their worldview, change their policies to something that now benefits them more than other people. And that's a different story and something that we can talk about. But the idea of just being socialist and having money being a problem, or like the two go against each other, is just false and a silly and I think a lazy way of thinking. You know, it's again. Donald Trump is rewarded and celebrated for having money. Donald Trump is a powerful person because he has money, but because a brown man has money, you know, then they have to be seen as a threat.
Important. The Columbia thing shouldn't be lost. His ideas are an extension of the very thing that we're fighting every single day on college campuses. And undergirding all of this, and you can look at the connective tissue of the radicals, is the public sector teacher unions. They want to get rid of charter schools. They want to get rid of any semblance of school choice. They did a massive press conference on July 9th, basically, and Mamdani said, whatever you want. And Mamdani is the outgrowth of the seeds that were planted by these public sector teacher unions that want to get rid of parental choice and want to keep kids stuck in failing schools here in New York City.
The money is set aside.
Failing because those schools are being divested from, as opposed to being, as opposed to being invested in. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go lay down. Go get your treat. No, go lay down. Go lay down. Good boy. Don't bring it over here. To try to get closer. He's upset because a cat just came and sat on my lap. He gets jealous very easily. But we're okay. We're all good over here. Isn't that right, Nimbalina? Anyway, what were they just saying? Something. Oh, about schools. Yeah. Yes, those schools are failing because funds are being pulled from those schools to be put towards other things, like more money for the police and more money for the wealthiest, and being stolen from those taxpayers and being put towards things like charter schools, which not only don't serve as many people, but also oftentimes fail the students that are within them as well.
For charter schools that benefit mostly minority communities,
Yes.
and they're going to hurt the people that put them in office in many respects. This is a little bit of the staff of the socialist movement. You have Zara, who is going to introduce him to a cool crowd, a veteran of Vogue, Uber, and presidential campaigns of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. And then you have Ellie. Ellie is somebody that also comes from the socialist movement. And then this is basically the staff that's going to fill him up. The word is they're trying to get Bill Bratton to give him legitimacy, but I hope he doesn't do it.
This is a Bolshevik type of group. And I say that with intentionality because they're radical. This is not part of the Democrat establishment. They want to go even further than some of what Mamdani's talked about.
And then check this out. AOC clearly is his mentor, and Letitia James is somebody that wants a job should he be winning, but she's got herself some legal problems. Gavin Newsom.
That was all really fun. That was a really fun little tree, a family tree they took us through. This idea that they are so extremely incredibly the Democrats are so extremely incredibly left is laughable, and that the group around Zohran Mamdani is even more radical and even more communistic and Bolshevik, really leaning into that Red Scare language there, Charlie Kirk. But if you actually look at the policies that are coming from Zohran Mamdani, instead of looking around this sort of web of people that you're casting aspersions about and saying are going to be influencing him, I would argue that I don't think the people that you've chosen for this list are very good. Like I don't think AOC is a person that you would want to be calling Zohran Mamdani's teacher or coach right now. While she might have been inspirational to him, and he might be proud to be from the same state that she's from. I think it's also reasonable to say that people might have some issues with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez right now, considering her Israel voting as of late, her political silliness that she's been doing. She's been turning very establishment Democrat the past couple of months, and it's been very upsetting to watch. And so, I don't know that I would even call AOC a big Mamdani ally right now. Like he's virtually on his own, aside from the team that he has around him. And his volunteers, because he has luckily the people behind him. He's got the mandate, but at the same time, the other candidates are actively both working with Trump. You've got Cuomo, that's it's been reported that he's been having meetings with Trump about what to do about this. You have Eric Adams, who already sold his soul and sits in the cuck chair every Thursday night. That's tomorrow. Big night for Eric Adams tomorrow. That's exciting. But you don't have anything that the people can grab onto outside of Zohran Mamdani,
who you sat down with on a podcast, made a lot of news. He wants to fancy himself as the Democratic nominee, taking on Trump again. Now he's saying this. Challenging Donald Trump. He says he's going to redistrict if he doesn't call off the Texas redistricting. Put this out. Donald Taco Trump, as many call him, missed his deadline. Californians will now draw new, more beautiful maps. They will be historic as they will end the Trump presidency. The Dems will take back the House.
Well, his podcast was such a failure, so now he's got to try a whole new shtick. But here's the thing first with Gavin Newsom.
Like every Democrat that they try to put forward, or every Democrat that has power already, is just so disappointing to look at. Like you want to bring up Gavin Newsom as a leadership of the Democratic Party, and yet they bring up his podcast. On his podcast, he's so fast to throw trans people under the bus. Like, great. I'm glad we have such a strong and powerful ally that doesn't actually care about the people that he says that he protects, or at least rather, he's happy to pick and choose which of his people he protects.
Newsom, is that there's a contradiction in everything the Democrats are doing. They're saying gerrymandering is bad, but we're going to now gerrymander in response. And understand, they've used gerrymandering for years without any sort of reciprocity from the Republican Party. And now finally we have Texas that's saying, you know what, we want to have more minority representative districts. Governor Abbott came on my show and he talked about, hey, this map actually gives a bigger voice to
That sounds like DEI.
districts. Governor Abbott, finally we have Texas that's saying, you know what, we want to have more minority representative districts.
Charlie. That sounds like DEI. You want to have more minority represented counties represented to a higher degree?
Governor Abbott came on my show and he talked about, hey, this map actually gives a bigger voice to Hispanic Americans in Texas. Look, Gavin Newsom should not be taken seriously with this.
Yeah, the so not only do you love your DEI policies when they work in your benefit and they work towards the benefit for what you're looking for at any given moment, and also I would love to see the statistic on this actually benefiting Hispanic people more than it currently does. Please show me that study, Charlie. However, I also really love the pointing out the hypocrisy behind, like, oh, the Democrats are suddenly willing to stoop to our level after saying that what we did is gross. Not denying that what they're doing is gross, just saying like, oh, the Democrats who usually are too afraid to do anything or to stoop down to the level that we're willing to do things at, they're suddenly willing to do that. Oh, how hypocritical of them. As if any conservative can actually claim that they care about being hypocritical towards anything. like your worldview and your political party and platform depends on being hypocritical. There's no foundation for you without that, you know. You love your veterans until you see them dirtying up the sidewalk with their homelessness. You love unborn fetuses until they come out and they're brown and black and poor. You love making special exceptions, and you love holding a standard in your Bible towards how certain people should be treated without holding that same standard towards making sure you don't eat pork or making sure that you're not wearing a poly cotton blend. Like, again, it's the fake rage at the Democrats being hypocritical when you are the most hypocritical party out there is laughable, I think. I would go so far to say.
But it goes to show that these major Democrat states are run purely for power politics, not the betterment of the citizens of their states.
And by the way, they've already maxed it out. They could maybe squeeze out a few more seats.
Yes.
But Texas is capable of getting 10 more seats.
Yes, and look, this kind of gerrymandering arms race, this kind of mass proliferation of political maps, no one delights in this, but where did this come from? My home state of Illinois, where I grew up, I mean, you look at some of these maps, it looks like just like random splatterings of paint. Like there's no semblance whatsoever of how these maps come from. New York is heavily gerrymandered. Remember, here in New York, they got rid of Republican seats after the last gerrymandering, redistricting, and map cycle. I'm thrilled that President Trump and Greg Abbott are finally playing offense on this. I think Gavin Newsom's all bluster.
I think Florida.
It's speaking of more ridiculous things, like this idea that, like, oh, the Democrats didn't specifically set up like, hang on, let's pull up, what's his name, this is Dan Crenshaw. Dan here is a really, really cool guy. He's got an eye patch. I'm sure you noticed. I normally don't say that sort of thing, but I don't really care about Dan. I think it's funny to point it out on him specifically. The Republicans are happy to complain about the Democrats, suddenly using this tool to their advantage when they draw maps like this. You are the cause of this problem. The Republican Party has been organized in this process, in this way for the past 40 years, and just like every other thing that every other problem that we have that comes from the Republican Party can be traced back to the Republican Party doing that problem, causing that problem to happen. We see that with every single mess that Trump makes on a daily basis. They want to talk about maps made in Illinois when this is in the dead center of Houston. What the fuck is this? What the what the fuck is this? You want to talk about maps in Illinois when this exists in Texas? And with this already existing in Texas, you're saying that you need to squeeze out 10 more seats? Get the fuck out of here. Like, again, the fake fake virtue signaling, the how dare the Democrats try to do a thing that not only did we make it so that it happened in the first place, but we are actually already doing, and they're only doing in response to us doing. Like, it's very, Charlie Kirk swallowing on his own cock, snake eating its own tail. Where does it start? Where does the barrel begin? This is nasty.
That's right. Charlie, great to see you.
It's not great to see you, Charlie. I hope I go a week at least without seeing you again. Preferably longer. But with that, I am going to run to the restroom real quick, and I'm going to take a very quick break before I talk about before I talk about the homeless situation going on. But I'll leave this behind. Oh wait, no. Is that Kevin O'Leary? Did I see Kevin? I hate Kevin O'Leary. Blue collar voters are done with Dems. Yeah, they probably are. Oh, great. Kevin O'Leary says Zoran is full of BS. I'd love to hear what he has to say about this.
Hitting Brooklyn this morning for day 2 of his 5 boroughs against Trump tour. Let's bring in O'Leary Ventures chairman Kevin O'Leary. I don't know. What do you think about Zamdani? Mamdani. I combined the names, didn't I? That's my new nickname, I guess. Go ahead, Kevin.
I will. I'll give him marks for marketing. I've said this before. He's torn a page out of Elizabeth Warren's and AOC's playbook, getting lots of press, saying outrageous things, raising money. It's starting to smell a little bit like the 6th week of the general election when Kamala Harris refused to put out any policy and just kept, reiterating the same rhetoric over and over again. He's doing the same thing. I'm not getting any policy. I'm one of many investors that have asked his staff for a meeting to get some idea on how he's planning to do this affordable housing thing. I would love to be part of that as an investor, but not if this rhetoric is true, because he won't be able to raise any money. He's offering free everything. Well, that doesn't work in real estate. You have to give investors a market return. I would hope someone on his staff would explain that to him. If not, I can do it for them. But if he doesn't do that, he's going to run into a lot of brick walls, or he's going to charge 150% tax to get everything free in New York, which also isn't going to work.
All right, well, get ready for it, because here he is taking on President Trump during his tour across New York City earlier today. Listen.
What this tour is reflective of is the fact that Donald Trump is attacking this city. It's attacking its people. We've spoken about it in a fiscal sense, in terms of what it will mean to steal food from the hungry, what it will mean to throw sick people off of their insurance, what it will mean to make it even more difficult to afford this city. And so, yes, this is a tour against the Trump administration's attack on New York City voters.
Attack capitalism, right? Kevin, this is just some of what we're hearing from those who come from socialism when they hear his pitch to voters. Listen.
My ears perk up anytime I hear people embracing socialism, especially very privileged people like this aspiring mayoral candidate from New York City. I'm very worried for New Yorkers if he were to be elected in that respect. And so when you come from a family of people who experience that wretched ideology firsthand, you can't help but be worried.
Look at history, research governments that already have these policies in place, and determine if that's something that you want New York to look like.
Why do you fathom, with everything we know and everything we've studied in our history, that anybody like Zamdani think that they can get away with this?
Donnie's forgotten something very important about the heart of New York. You've got to remember there's that Statue of Liberty there that welcomed all those immigrants in. to get away from exactly this, socialism, and embrace the American dream. It was the heart of the American dream, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. It's always been the city of inspiration, aspiration, and he is tearing that apart and attacking essentially the American dream. I think, in my opinion, blows up in his face. If he doesn't make it to the mayorship, it's because he didn't respect what the heart of New York is and was and always will be, the American dream. He better get hip to that pretty fast, and that includes meeting with investors like me. It doesn't have to be me, get anybody, because we think he's full of BS right now. I don't believe this rhetoric.
Making it interesting, Kevin. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us.
Take care.
All right.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.
And we're back. Sorry about that wait, everybody. All my loyal fans, sorry about that wait. Hello, I'm back. Let me tell you, I found out some exciting news while I was gone. I know, Ozzy. Yeah? In exciting news, UGA has changed their discriminatory standards. They have dropped, what is it? Let's see. I know, buddy. They have dropped sexual orientation from its non-discrimination policy. Not only that, but they also dropped hi, what's up? Yeah. All right, come on, let's go to your place. Come on, place. Yeah, inside. Place. Good boy. Thank you. Lay down. Thank you, buddy. So they have dropped sexual orientation from their non-discrimination policy. Not only have they dropped that, but they've also dropped gender identity. They have also dropped pregnancy from that. Now they have maintained keeping sex on there, which. I think keeping sex on there is funny. I mean, I understand why they did it, but I'm hoping that that works out beneficial with the bigotry that comes from the Republicans not understanding what it means to be trans and what that means in terms of a difference between gender and sex. That hopefully that means that they believe that they cannot discriminate still against being somebody of the opposite gender. Depending on how that plays out, there might be some level of protection still there for trans people. However, that's very iffy. My assumption would be that they would not use that in a way that would benefit trans people in any way. So it's probably a moot point. As far as other parts of it, I think there's a very clear reason why you would want to take pregnancy out of the non-discrimination policy. There's only one biological sex that that can get pregnant at this moment in time, and there's a very, very large effort to oppress and own and de-educate and what's the other word? Buy. And again, if you're able to discriminate against them because they are pregnant, it would be beneficial to not have those discriminating against the ones you don't want there to be protected. So makes sense, we want to... Ozzy, stop. Sit down. It makes sense. We want to continue punishing women. We want to continue hurting them as often and as much as we can. I know. Calm down, bud. And sexual orientation is just, of course, absolutely disgusting in terms of the mistreatment of anybody that's a part of the LGBTQIA plus community. It's absolutely disgusting. But let's go UGA, go Bulldogs. I wonder if this is going to mean that anybody stops supporting the team. Based off of everything I've experienced in the South, I would say probably not. Speaking of things I've been experiencing in the South, I'm really upset about what's going on with homeless people. We already have a huge detention center outside of where I live. And our city council is currently voting to round them up. Let me see if I can find that. I know there was a vote I think past Tuesday. I found out about it yesterday. Council votes on new city law. Critics say criminalizes homeless. So yeah, this is in a town I know. Passed a controversial ordinance Tuesday, making it illegal to camp on public property, which passed with a 9-1 vote. A candidate for mayor cast a lone no vote. Makes it unlawful for people to camp on public property, store personal property on public property, and to interfere with entering or exiting any public property. I know there's already been complaints about the sheriff's office complaining about the amount of labor that's required to, in their own words, clean up the homeless encampments across the city, which essentially means they take the sheriff office, the police force, takes prisoners, and they take those prisoners and use them as slave labor, send them into usually somewhere outside of a park, or send them into the middle of like the forest or wherever these encampments are or will be found, and they have them get rid of everything. They have them go into these homeless people's spaces, these houseless individuals who, again, are the biggest victims of, or some of the biggest victims of society. We have, Republicans claim to care about the homeless, or rather the homeless veterans that are out there, whenever they want to make a talking point about how we can't pay for health care. They love to talk about how we can't afford these things whenever it's beneficial to the people that they claim that they want to protect. With that way, they can say words without ever having to deliver on them. But they claim to care about veterans. They claim to care about mothers. They claim to care about children until they are poor, or they are brown, or they are black, or they are, communist, socialist, adjacent, anywhere in that realm. Then they are a problem. Then they are then they are an issue. But for this ordinance, there's been a count recently of houseless people in our area, and I want to say that it was 303. I think it was 303. Section 1.8 allows for punishment by a fine not exceeding $1,000 or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 90 days, or by both such fine and imprisonment. You know, if there's people that have fallen through the whatever small social safety nets that we have in society, if there are people that are really having bad luck and don't have any kind of social or safety net or any kind of system built around them in which they can find a way to provide for themselves, and they then go on to be forced due to capitalism because they can't afford to buy a home, because we have to have people buy their homes as opposed to being just providing them for them. We instead force these people to live on the streets, to pack up everything that they can into shopping carts, and live in these encampments that they build for themselves, which are complete oftentimes with whole, cooking stations with living spaces and sleeping domiciles, and setting it up like a home because it's the closest thing to a home that these people have. And what happens immediately after that? Slave labor is brought in by armed forces, forced to destroy, clean up, and take away and get rid of everything that you have, everything to your name, and then they take and then you're left out there by yourself with still no support system, and now you don't have anything, including everything that you had mere minutes ago. And then you venture into town to try to find some kind of food, to try to find some kind of charity, and then once you're there, you're spit on. Once you're there, you're arrested and beaten by the police. Once you're there, you're arrested and you're fined with $1,000 because you have disposable income to be able to pay that $1,000 fine. What happens when you can't pay that $1,000 fine? What happens when that you aren't able to pay that? Do people come after you? Do you have people put out a warrant for your arrest, and then someday down the road you're just placed in shackles and thrown into prison? What is the solution here? They can't pay the fine, so they're going to be going to prison. Well, great. That works out well for the prison system, I guess. I was talking about my town being overrun with cops and being able to pay for just on one block, I saw 5 heavily militarized police cruisers and vans, and yet we aren't able to make sure that 303 people across our town have homes. We aren't able to provide that. We aren't able to make sure that we can put them up in one of the empty hotels that we have in the area. I think there's only like 40 beds that we have in shelters ready to go across our city. I think there's 40 people. And great. I'm so glad that who is it? I'm so glad that Councillor Charmaine Crabb of District 5. I'm so glad that Charmaine Crabb had the bravery to say the words at the same time we are hearing from residents and property owners who are deeply frustrated with the impacts of encampments throughout the city, including garbage, safety concerns, and damage to public and private property. These citizens pay taxes and deserve to see their parks, sidewalks, and neighborhoods clean, safe, and accessible to all. Their rights and concerns are also valid and must be addressed. But you don't want to address anything in any beneficial way. You want to take these people, you want to round them up, you want to put them into concentration camps, and you want to get rid of the problem. You don't care about the actual solutions that would be beneficial, such as providing housing, as every study has shown that that's the most consistent way to get anybody who is houseless out of these situations, is to provide housing for them so they can lift themselves up. Having consistent housing and shelter is the most meaningful change that a person can, in this situation, can experience in terms of stability, in terms of being able to address any kind of mental health problems that they have. How are you supposed to address a mental health problem or an addiction that you have when you're sleeping in a different spot every night? How are you supposed to handle that when on a weekly basis, everything that you own is rounded up and thrown into a dumpster by a chain gang that's being led around by an armed Nazi? Like, what are you supposed to do? And at the same time, these people want to walk around downtown and say that they have some kind of claim to this town, or say that they have some kind of right to be here when these other individuals do not. Yeah, I'm gonna be sick. I'm gonna be as sick as when I looked at Dan Crenshaw's District 2 map of Texas. I'm gonna be that sick. Oh goodness, I'm getting fired up. Let's see what they have to say about the homeless in DC. I don't know yet if arrests have started or not, because I haven't been brave enough to look in the past hour or so.
Overnight, dozens of National Guard troops reporting for duty in D.C.
Good luck to you. Godspeed.
More than 100 newly activated members getting a pep talk from the Secretary of the Army before
Good luck beating in citizen skulls.
hitting the streets. Their first mission, patrol the National Mall and offer a presence at the city's iconic monuments. Rows of Hummers and camel-clad guardsmen were posted along the mall soon after. The scene, a stark contrast to the tourists and children strolling past.
This is a bit startling. This is worse than January 6th.
White House officials say the troops are in position to assist local law enforcement and say clearing out homeless encampments is a top priority.
Homeless individuals will be given the option to leave their encampment, to be taken to a homeless shelter, to be offered addiction or mental health services, and if they refuse, they will be susceptible to fines or to jail time.
The Army says guard.
You have an option. There's an option here for you. You can either come with me and do the worst labor imaginable to no benefit of your own and solely for the benefit of some capital owner. You can come with me and you can do that, or I can shoot you in the face. Don't worry, you have an option. Which one do you choose? What do you mean? You have the option to come to a concentration camp and hang out with us for some bracelet making and where you'll have a comfortable bed to sleep on and you'll be treated like luxury, or you can be arrested, because they'll definitely be treated well wherever they're going to end up, as concentration camps spring up around the country, as you have the gay Broadway showman Donald Trump is talking about or recommending Speedway Slammer to be built in Indiana as a concentration camp similar to Alligator Alcatraz. What is the long-term plan here, aside from taking these people, putting them in prison, and using them as slave labor? Because I have a solution, which is called putting them in homes that would solve the problem immediately. Are you okay, Ozzy? Yeah. You're being very good. Yeah. Here, let me get Ozzy a treat again. He's getting a little antsy. I thought I played that video before I walked away.
Guardsmen will not carry weapons, but will have access to them.
What I'm
Oh, good.
focused on is the federal surge and how to make the most of the additional officer support that we have.
Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
Well, I love that they have a ready availability of weapons, as long as they aren't on their person, I guess. That's all that really matters. Yeah, this occupation taking place right now as Trump overtakes the DC police force is absolutely terrifying, and very much seems like an opportunity for them to try to hope for some kind of response of violence. At least that's what my assumption is that they're hoping for, is that there's going to be some kind of response from some kind of some protester that gets upset or fed up. That's going to start something, and that's going to be their validation to be able to send in armed troops to whatever city they want, with the guise of, oh, well, we tried to do this the peaceful way, we tried to do this the nice way, but these radical leftists, these crazy leftists just can't stand to get in the way of peace. They don't want peace anywhere. Where it's the left's fault that Ukraine happens, that the war in Ukraine is happening. Everybody but their own fault. As long as Donald Trump is not to blame, that is all that matters at the end of the day.
To sunrise on the Hill, we know President Trump wants to crack down on crime, but he also wants to crack down on homelessness in the district, and he's taking sweeping action to clear encampments across D.C. He has long complained about this, right, saying that they're unsightly, especially when world leaders come to town.
Our Candace Cole joins us live from Washington.
Again, this language of like unsightly, unseemly, using like this very like purity culture, like cleansing language when talking about anything along these lines. Like fascists love using this language for anything that's adjacent to homosexuality, anything. It lines up with all of their transphobic statements. We hear Donald Trump saying like the city is like Bedlam. This talk of purging and this need for purity plays into their own sexual frustration and their own sexual inadequacies that they have with themselves and their own insecurities in a way that's, I think, just very alarming and very self-telling. Like it feels very aligned with like the same way like I'm so concerned why every transphobe is so concerned and obsessed with like the genitals of children. It's like, okay, I think you might be taking a little bit too far there, pal.
Washington Circle with more on what's happening there. Candace, we can see some tents behind you, and one would imagine they're concerned about their future.
That's right. Good morning. Well, this action is coming nearly 2.
Also, not to mention the fact that, and I was thinking about this again. My town's been implementing anti-homeless things across the city council. Like, I don't think there's any kind of effort to communicate this to the houseless population, aside from like advocates for them going around and telling them like, hey, you need to be on the lookout because tomorrow the National Guard might be going around and stomping your skulls in. Like I haven't heard of any kind of campaign effort, but like these are people who may not have access to communication devices. They might not have access to televisions in which they can get news. They might already be at their encampments on the edge of the city and unaware of the fact that within 12 hours they could have Donald Trump's new deputized D.C. police force stomping on their doorstep and breaking down their tent and using the slave labor of the prison system, taking everything that they have managed to build for themselves, despite the fact they've been stripped from any kind of social safety nets that would be allocated towards helping them in this time. I know, Ozzy. It's so very upsetting. Ozzy hates to hear. He hates to hear these things. Oh, no. Keeps on not playing. Play.
After the president put forth an executive order mandating the clearing of homeless encampments and tents, as what you see behind me, and ordering that homeless people who may be suffering from addiction or mental health illness be forcibly institutionalized. Now, as we first reported last week,
that's my favorite. That's one of my favorite things to hear. Forcibly institutionalized. Yeah, my favorite hobby, my favorite summer activity. Forcible institutionalization. Absolutely incredible to see.
Officials here in D.C. were put on notice that those homeless encampments and people would be evicted from the streets and put into hospitals. Since that executive order was put in place, the White House says that 70 encampments have already been cleared just in the last 2 weeks or so.
Now keep in mind also, not to mention is the communication effort to actually get the news out to these people lackluster. But also, oh God, what was I about to say?
The hospitals,
Oh yes. Also, there's a incredible lack of beds for these people to actually sleep in. Even if you are able to go to a homeless shelter and stay in a homeless shelter, which already has all kinds of stipulations associated with it in terms of like when you're allowed to leave, what you're allowed to show up, and what condition you're allowed to show up in. There's all kinds of different again stipulations that can hurt your case and hurt your opportunity to sleep in these places. Aside from the fact that there's already difficulties, and also the difficulty to get to these shelters for these people, in my experience, most Americans aren't too excited at the opportunity to let a houseless individual into their car. Americans love the fact that their private car, their home, offers them a bubble, a protection layer against the outside, against the homeless. Again, as a fear. They love to do that, but it's incredibly difficult for these people to get to those places. I guarantee there's no effort in terms of them to actually help them arrive to these shelters as needed. And aside from all of those things, there's a total of 4,000 beds and a total of about 5,600 that are needed. Like there's not enough beds already to handle what is needed for to maintain not arresting these people. Like arresting these people is built into the plan and is built into the numbers because there's not enough beds for them to sleep already. And great, I'm glad that one person has mentioned that they're going to be flexible and that they're going to be aware of that fact moving forward, that they might need to put some people where they may not normally, or they might need to put some more beds in spaces. And I wonder if that's going to end up turning out like where it has every other situation, where we just cram a bunch of people into a wired fence room and tell them to chill out for 12 hours. Like there's no forethought for anything that's done. Like we saw this in LA when the National Guard and the Marines showed up, and they didn't have any. Not only did they not have anything to do, they didn't have anywhere to sleep. They were sleeping in hallways and being fed like absolute crap meals. And I think we all made fun of the fact that the pro-military, the Law and Order Party, wasn't able to feed and take care of their military that they deployed out there. But in the same breath, they're happy to. Let me get it. I almost got it. I almost got your ball. Got it. What was I saying? But yeah, in the same breath, they're more than happy to exploit these people however they can. I lost what I was going to say there. Ozzy distracted me. Thanks, Ozzy. Anyway, it's all very gross. The mistreatment is disgusting. The dehumanization is disgusting. It's more of the same. It's always been this way. It's just been a matter of what we've allowed to be permissible, and as things have gotten more normalized, as more people become homeless. I just moved away from Atlanta, where there is a pretty large homeless population, and everybody that I talked to was more than willing to bring up the fact that there was a homeless person or a houseless individual panhandling and asking for money on every highway, underpass, every major red light in the city. Everybody was more than happy to bring up that conversation and talking point and mention that it was unseemly and unsightly. But they weren't actually interested in fixing any of those problems. They just wanted the problem to go away. And that's where we've reached now, is we're not fixing the problem, addressing these problems as they need to be addressed through material conditions, through stable living environments and stable living shelters. We're addressing it by grabbing these people, kidnapping them, throwing them against their will into concentration camps, or as they say for right now, hospitals. And what happens if they don't go to the hospital? Then we arrest them, and it's not an issue anyway. We still get them off the street. We've managed to criminalize homelessness. We've managed to destroy these people's lives further. We managed to increase the capital system. And again, it's this dehumanization effort's been going on for the past, I would say at least I've been seeing it for the past 25 years, or I've noticed it. Getting worse and worse. And as more people begin losing their homes, as more people begin losing the ability to pay for their apartments, as people, lose their jobs due to AI displacement, we're only going to see more homelessness. We're only going to see more arrests for that. We're only going to see, as these fines continue, an even further ability for homelessness to be a more pervasive problem, because now it's not just a matter of it's not a matter of being caught being homeless and being able to walk away. It's a matter of being caught homeless and now you have $1,000 fine that you have to pay, on top of not being able to. Oh, hello, first-time viewer Drac. Welcome in. Thank you for offering stream view for all of us. I appreciate it. You're left with a situation in which again, you don't want the problem to actually be fixed. You just want the problem to go away. You just want your little liberal aesthetic to be taken care of, so that way, everywhere that you walk to, you can have your perfect little Instagrammable picture moment without having to fear a person going through a mental health crisis that's been shunned and been forced to be awake, because everywhere he tries to sleep for the past 36 hours, he's been thrown out of, beaten away from. Every piece of property that he sees that he can sleep on has hostile architecture built into it, and has a bar between the park bench, or has spikes built into the spaces next to store entryways. Like every opportunity to belittle and humiliate and hurt these people we've taken, and it's gotten worse and worse over the past 20 years. I remember first noticing hostile architecture walking through downtown Atlanta on my way, I think it was 11 years old, and asking like what that was, and having the realization as I saw somebody that was sleeping a little bit further, but they were sleeping on the very edge, so that way they were in between the wall and where the spikes began, the one little bit of zone that they had to be able to remain dry from the rain cover, as well as be able to find some sleep there. So like, what I'm sorry that you're not happy that somebody is going through a mental health crisis and has been tortured through sleep deprivation and is an absolute victim of society. I'm sorry that gets in the way of your little Instagram picture moment. But like, how about we actually help the person instead of like calling the police and arresting them or like throwing them into prison? How about we actually like, I don't know, invest in like social safety nets and social services that address these issues, bring solutions forward to these issues, actually help people. It's again just more dehumanization, and it's more just a part of the same systems that have been building for years and years now, but it's all just finally coming to a head. But who's going to do anything about it? Hakeem Jeffries doesn't care. Chuck Schumer isn't going to do anything.
That executive order was put in place. The White House says that 70 encampments have already been cleared just in the last 2 weeks or so. Now, we've learned that 2 remaining encampments are set to be removed this week, one here near Washington Circle, the other near Whitehurst Freeway. This action coming as the president said on his Truth Social platform, quote, "The homeless have to move out immediately. We'll give you a place to stay, but far from the Capitol." One man told us he prefers being on the street because conditions inside the shelters are so terrible.
It's like hell on the other side of hell. The shelter, people go to your pockets and lift you off at night, steal everything from you.
I was somewhere, living somewhere. My friend just passed away. So I'm saying, now I'm homeless. I've been just trying to find work. If they come here and take this away from me, I'm saying I'm gonna be messed up. I'm saying I ain't got nowhere to go.
Like this is what I'm talking about. Like you have a militarized police force coming in and abusing these poor people that have nothing to their names and taking away every single piece of property that they have on a weekly basis. Often you have people like I've seen the videos of cops destroying property of houseless individuals while laughing as the person just sits there crying, not able to do anything. Because what are you gonna do? You don't have any power. You're the bottom of the totem pole. You're in their eyes dirt. It's just heartbreaking that it's allowed to occur.
And now anyone who fails to comply with these orders to be removed could face jail time or fines. But the overarching question here is, where are they going to go? Where exactly is the Trump administration going to send these people, where are these places to stay? We've already heard from the National Homelessness Law Center that shelters here in D.C. are at full capacity,
Yep.
and there really is no other option for them. They have said that the president's steps are, quote, authoritarian and do nothing to actually solve the homelessness crisis here. Corey, Hillary?
I mean, that's exactly the problem. It doesn't solve anything, as well as, like, where are you going to send them? You're already full on beds. There's 5,600 that you need, and you have 4,000. I've heard them say, like, we're going to be flexible and add more beds. Like, that that's not going to be enough. And, like, under what conditions are you going to be adding those beds? Just because these people are homeless, if you're going to be taking them in, if you're going to be demanding that they leave their spaces and threatening them with prison should they not go with you, then you might need to it's your responsibility to make sure that they are treated with dignity and that they are treated with respect. If you're just going to shackle them and throw them into wire gate fence stalls and call it a day and let them squalor in their own filth, as you would love to put it, then that's going to be an issue.
Righty, Candace, thank you so much. And staying on this topic of homelessness, we want to turn to Jesse Rabinowitz. He's the communications director at the National Homelessness Law Center, which is an organization looking to solve homelessness through advocacy, litigation, and education. Jesse, thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
So this really raises
Sorry,
so many
that was just really
issues and so many
Sorry, that was just really dry. I don't know why that made me laugh.
problems potentially. The president is talking about moving all of the homeless out, maybe getting them mental health services, or maybe putting them in jail. But there are no beds anyplace, right? People can't get beds in hospitals for mental health services, and a lot of those people actually wind up going to jail because there's no other place to put them.
As we have the need to mass produce beds, I wonder where we're getting them from. Because, like, not only are we going to need beds for all of the homeless people that we're taking in, all of the houseless individuals, but we're also going to be needing beds for all of the all of the undocumented detainees that we're kidnapping off the streets. Like, who's the bed manufacturer that's is this Mike Lindell? Is this the My Pillow? Is this the My Pillow pyramid scheme? Did we figure it out? Did I manage to get a total of 5 viewers and then figure out the pyramids? Oh, one left. And then figure out the pyramid scheme of we're going to have Mike Lindell build all of the concentration camp beds, build all of the houses concentration camps beds, and once he does all that, then we'll really start raking in the big bucks. That's the real concentration of wealth going on in this country right now.
That's absolutely right. There are about 900 people sleeping outside in DC on most nights, and right now there are about 40 shelter beds. The math doesn't work. There's nowhere else for people to go, and my worry is that Trump will force homeless people into jail or government-run detention camps. He has long talked about the desire to round homeless folks up and force them into government-run camps, and I worry that is what we are going to see.
I think he's been talking about this since 2022, I think was when I saw him, the quote that he mentioned earlier about rounding up homeless and putting them to work.
In DC, but as he made clear in his press conference yesterday, what starts in DC will spread to the rest of the country. So everyone needs to be paying attention and working to stop this authoritarian takeover of Washington, DC.
So Jesse, I know you and other homeless advocates within the district are out there on the streets talking to people who are impacted here. What are those conversations like? What are you telling them? What are they telling you about what potentially could come?
People are scared, and people keep asking the same question that we're all asking: is where do they want people to go?
And it's again a consistent part of the fear mongering, this lack of information giving, this lack of information sharing. Like, it's already a matter, it's going to be difficult to get this information to these people that they might be have their face stomped in soon by National Guard members, or that Trump's new police force will be beating them. Not only is it difficult because they might not have access to television or communication or electricity, but you're also dealing with the fact that the administration doesn't want this information getting out there in any kind of reasonable or organized fashion, because that would add stability. That would add calmness to the situation. That would make it not as threatening as the uncertainty that comes along with just sort of a whisper of, at some point arrests are going to start if you don't get kidnapped and come with us to the place that we tell you to come to. Like the miscommunication is just another part of the same methodology. Ozzy, calm down. Same methodology behind the shock doctrine method of overload them with stimuli, so that way they're too fried to be able to actually respond or organize in any meaningful capacity. It's a really, really fun and tiring system that that we constantly have to fight against.
There doesn't seem to be a clear answer other than not in DC. But most people experiencing homelessness in DC are from DC. People have a right to stay in their city. People live here. People experiencing homelessness are our neighbors.
Also, sorry to continue pausing this. The number one cause of homelessness comes from a matter of job loss. It does not. Hi, Oswald. Hi. Hello. Oh, comes from homelessness. From homelessness comes from job loss. Not a matter of people not being willing to work. It comes from a matter of people having jobs, not being able to get that job back. Okay, buddy, get down. Come on, get down. Not being able to get a job back that fulfills the needs that they have in terms of financial compensation or material conditions, and from there, losing everything. Eventually, you get to the point where you don't have anything left and you end up homeless. But the idea that people end up homeless because they're not willing to work, or they don't want to work, or just because they are addicted to drugs. Like, you don't usually start being homeless addicted to drugs to the same capacity that people would expect. Usually, a drug addiction is a byproduct of being homeless, in the same fashion that PTSD is a byproduct of being in the prison system.
And they have just as much a right to be here as anyone else. Donald Trump is trafficking in racist stereotypes about people experiencing homelessness in DC, who are disproportionately Black and brown people. He's not actually interested in solving homelessness. He's just interested in stoking division and pathologizing people who are just trying to get by in a rental market that's too expensive.
Jesse,
not to mention, he mentioned rental markets there, but so for years now, big investment Blackstone, for example, but they've been investing in, of course, the single-family homes and the starter home marketplace, and homes in general, buying up as much private property as they can to turn it into investment properties. I just moved away from Atlanta, and the way in which the Atlanta apartments are priced at this point is so predatory. It's impossible to lift yourself out of poverty in any kind of meaningful capacity. All of the apartment complexes are owned by 2 to 3 companies that all work together to coordinate prices as far as when they are going to be raising prices, when they lower prices, making sure that they offset as needed during the busy seasons. Like, they coordinate everything to this point so that they can control the market as they see fit and as they want, to squeeze as much money from the people that live in this area as they can, without having any kind of benefit for them. So these investment companies have been buying up real estate, have been buying up homes for forever, for years and years now. These companies then moved on to start buying up apartment complexes, so that they can, rake in money from that. As people aren't able to buy homes, you have the apartments that people are forced into because they don't have the opportunity to buy homes, and that way you still have that method of control over them as they move into those apartment places. Now those same investment companies have moved on. Hello, Bisky. Welcome in. It's great to see you. I'm a cheesemonger. I'm here answering any cheese questions if anybody has any for me. Aside from that, I'm just talking about how they're about to round up the homeless and put them into concentration camps because they're all Nazis. No, there was somebody in here earlier. I think that's just your first time your first time being a chatter in here. But you know what? You're my first chatter in my heart of hearts. But I'm answering any cheese questions that people have, if anybody has any, and talking about the homeless problem, right, specifically the rounding up of homeless people in the meantime. Yes, hello, welcome in. I'm glad that you found us. Bad things are happening in America. Yeah, Trump has taken over D.C. Trump has taken over the D.C. police force and now sent in the National Guard. This is awkward. Good news for anybody lactose intolerant. So if you have, so as cheese ages, the lactose in it gets converted from lactose to lactic acid. In that, so as cheese gets older, you have less lactose that's going to be in the cheese, and with that you have so like for example, Parmigiano Reggiano is so old that it's actually able to advertise that it is lactose free as a product. You have, for example, different levels of lactose across. Eat the moldy cheese. It can only be good for you. It's a microbiome. If you have sheep and goat, for example, those animals have less milk in them naturally compared to like water buffalo or compared to cows. And so if you have an aged sheep or goat's milk, there's virtually no lactose in it at all. So every lactose experience, Sam Alton, I don't know. What about the Sam Alton experience? I don't know about Sam Alton. What happened with Sam Alton? Oh, OpenAI? Oh, God. What did he do? No, I haven't heard about Sam Altman's situation. I've been in my own little bubble for a while today. I'm happy to say. Oh. That's fine. I mean, who does like Elon? The less people that like Elon, the better. He's a fucking loser. He has to cheat at video games in order to have the potential to make friends. And for his own children to only view him as a loser. I don't know if you're familiar with Pokemon Emerald, the game, but there's one part in that game where you have to talk to somebody after saving a Pokemon of theirs, and then they'll take you on a boat to get to who rides a boat to get to a different part of the game, and his child who he has disowned because they are trans, and he doesn't like that fact. He disowned them because they're trans. He had to ask them to figure that out for him when he was, I think, 42 years old, and they were, I think, 6 years old. Like the guy's sorry to say, I'm a scammer that's faked his way into making a bunch of money. But if you have older sheep and goat cheeses, and you eat those should have virtually zero lactose in them at all. Those should have virtually zero lactose, and overall will. I don't speak as a doctor. I speak as a cheese enthusiast, so I recommend always talking to your doctor about any specific medical issues. But you have my safety guarantee. Yeah, Elon's pretty shitty. Yeah, things are really bad over here in America right now. Donald Trump's taking over DC. He's sending in the National Guard, sending in the Marines. Not the Marines, I'm sorry. Taking over the DC police force, and now they're going to be going through and arresting homeless people. And I've been complaining about not only is it dehumanizing, unethical, mistreating, absolutely disgusting of people, but also a disgusting way to treat people, but also harms everybody, as we are all victims of being homeless, and this could be any one of us at any point in time. All right, I'm ready to hear you out. I mean, my hear me out earlier today was that this is all in the effort to empower and enrich Mike Lindell, because they're going to have to build so many beds for all the detainees. My Pillow is going to be making a fortune. So I'm ready to hear some outlandish theories and thoughts. Ozzy, place. Come on, place. Lay down. Good boy. No judging allowed. You say before I've judged something harder than I ever have before. Oh, I can't judge. I'm using slurs to refer to robots these days. I don't trust these robots. It's sort of kind of hot. I disagree with you there. Hang on. He's got the he's got the Funky Kong build. No, not Sam Altman. I don't care about Sam Altman. I'm sorry. This is not the hear me out that I was ready for. They also specifically try to get just above his they don't want to show his lower half. He skips leg day, it looks like. This one, oh god, I don't think I want to know what picture. I would say, like, after he had the hair plugs and after he like put in like millions of dollars worth of work, like, yeah, I would say like he got to a place where he's fine, but like he's just built like a barrel. Like, where's the picture of him next to Trump? Next to Trump, Oval Office. Like, he is wearing the supervillain jacket here, but like there's nothing impressive or like that maybe I'm the crazy one. Maybe I'm the insane one here. Oh yeah. Yeah, no, he doesn't do it for me. I'm sorry to say. Like, he's again just built like a barrel. Elon Musk body type. Well, there, that's my picture. That's the picture I like. Like, this is this is what I see. This is a good depiction of how I see him walking around. That's fine. I'm fine body shaming Elon Musk. An average person, absolutely not. I don't care what you look like, but if unfortunately he's currently happy to speak to far right groups in Germany about how they need to keep up the good fight and how they need to work harder to propel the Nazi agenda forward. I don't really care about body shaming Elon. In fact, I'm happy to do it. Anybody else? I'll body shame Donald Trump as well. Anybody else though? I'm not. Well, actually, Marjorie. What is Hassan's name for her? Marjorie Titan Green. I'll body shame Marjorie Titan Green. If you're a bad person, I'll body shame you. I do have the moral clarity to be the one to pick who is a bad person in this situation, and who I get to body shame. But if you are actively trying to genocide or promote genocide for others, I don't mind being a little mean about it. But it's so bad. I mean, I've for me, I guess I just my crushes are. I can't have a crush on somebody based just on their body or based solely on their appearance. I can understand finding somebody attractive. Listen, every day is a mental breakdown. You got to be able to laugh at it, otherwise you're doomed. The world's burning around us, largely thanks to Elon Musk. His data centers and all of the Grok AI shit are actively burning this world faster and faster every single day. The data centers typically have, or rather, the data centers for Grok specifically have destroyed all progress that we've made in terms of healing the ozone in a matter of months. Like, it uses so much water, uses so much energy to be able to process. Yeah, see, now it doesn't do it for me. Like, Elon Musk could very easily solve the homeless problem. He's the richest man in the world. What? Wow, I'm picky. I don't think I'm very picky at all. Oh, I think Elon Musk is I think he's a pretty ugly person, but to each their own. I think it would be, I think he would be a lot more attractive if he took the 0.006% of his I would find it more attractive if he took 0.006 of his wealth and solved the homeless crisis, because it's a very easy thing to do. He's able to do it. He chooses every single day not to. And for me, that's very unattractive. See, like, probably my best example would be like Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But I mean, like, even there's a lot of arguments you could make in the benefit of Spike. I have some arguments against Spike. I have several arguments against him. I also have some for him. I can find somebody to be a bad person and attractive, but I will say I think you might be right about me being picky about Elon. You might be onto something about that, but I don't see the attraction. Maybe somebody else in here. We've got a couple people in here can back you up on this one. But 25,000 people starve every single day while he hoards Dragon's hoard of wealth and keeps resources specifically away from those who could use them. I don't find that attractive personally.
Where's the law on this in terms of sweeping citizens up and perhaps shipping them out against their will?
You certainly can't ship people out of the city because you don't want to see them. That to me sounds like kidnapping.
Do I think Barron Trump is innocent?
Is not concerned with what's legal and what's not. We know they are already usurping the Constitution to push forward their authoritarian agenda.
Or are you asking as Barron Trump? I'm assuming you're asking if I think Barron Trump is a villain, to which well, I would say anybody associated with the administration and is not using the power that they have by association with the administration. Anybody that's okay in that situation, I would call them a villain. Like I have no power whatsoever, and well, he does have a choice. Everybody has a choice. It may not be an easy choice, but he could step away from the family. Like I've cut people out of my life that have maintained transphobic views just because it's not worth it to me to have them in my life. But he actively makes a choice every day to allow these things to continue. Like, yeah, he could step away, and it would mean that he would lose probably all of his money, and he'd probably lose a lot of his connections, and he would probably lose a lot of his friends. And he would probably lose a lot of the privileges that he has and the benefits that he has based off of who he is as a person. But in exchange, he would be a better person. Like that's the Elon Musk's trans daughter left. Like what? Left the family? I mean, like, sure, if your dad tells you he doesn't like you because you're trans, then why would you want to stay? Like, that's not on the trans daughter for leaving. That's on Elon Musk for putting them in a situation where they didn't feel safe enough to stay. Like, Elon Musk is the parent there, and it's his responsibility to make sure that his child feels safe. Like, maybe I don't see a world in which he could be a good, like, doesn't he do eugenics to make sure he only has boys? That was why he was so upset. Like, he pays millions of dollars to make sure he has only boys. And that was a part of the reason why he was so upset about what Vivian was being trans, was because it meant that that she wasn't his son in the same way that he wanted it to be. Like, again, it's his own personal misgivings and his own inadequacies and his own issues that led these things to transpire. Therefore, I say that it's his issue, and I lose respect for him for these things. I don't saying that, like, his trans daughter left feels a little like putting it on his daughter for being trans, as if that's a choice of the daughter, as opposed to his daughter just saying being who they are. But I agree. I wanted him Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it just plays into the transphobia, as far as I can tell, is just a problem with your own sexual inadequacies, the problem of your own sexual neuroses, is the problem of your own insecurities. If you don't view women as people, you view a woman as an object for you to be able to buy and sell and for you to be able to use as a carrier for your boys, then like why would you care? He has a lot to be insecure about. I mean, like if you watch his video game skills, I think that's a pretty good example. But he has the nerve to say that he's like the number 3 Diablo 4 or the number 2 Diablo 4 player, whatever the fuck it was, in the world. And when he's live streaming the game, like he doesn't have the actual ability to do it, to play. There's nothing wrong with being bad at playing video games, but if you're going to go on Joe Rogan and say to his audience of 4 million people and then have that be spread around to every corner of the internet, go to your place. Go to your place. Thank you. And have that spread around to every corner of the internet and then have it come out that you're not good at video games, it's going to, 1, look hypocritical. It's going to, 2, make you look kind of sad. It's going to, 3, make people wonder what it took to make that happen. For example, I can only assume that he spent a lot of money based off the stats that he had in the game. He had to spend the money to have somebody play that game full time, because people that actually play that game full time responded with that video of him playing by saying, but why did he lie in the first place? Because he's insecure. He has something that he feels the need to prove. He feels the need to be the best at something. It's because he's a narcissist that can't stand the idea of him being bad at something. He can't just be rich. He has to be the richest man in the world. He can't just be the richest billionaire. He has to be the first trillionaire. It's a classic narcissism. Stemming from oftentimes sexual frustration, oftentimes stemming from a place of shame that gets linked to you. Insecure of what? I'm sorry, but if I was Elon, I would have no insecurities. I mean, matter or access to money, I don't think means that you don't have any insecurities. Like Elon Musk, for example, I would say that he has to be insecure about the fact that none of his businesses he didn't start PayPal. He had to buy his way, or he had to force his way in as an owner. He didn't start Tesla. He had to force his way in as an owner. But he calls himself the founder. Now that he owns the company and he forced the company to start calling him founder, he calls himself founder. Yeah, but he has all the money to get a therapist and to accept himself. Yeah, okay, cool, but he doesn't do that. Or at the very least, the actions that he takes shows that he doesn't do that. Like if he were to accept himself and be comfortable with himself, then why would he feel the need to go after transphobes? Or I'm sorry, why would he feel the need to go after trans people and be transphobic? Like why would he feel the need to go after or say that he needs to carry on specifically the male line and ensure that his genes get passed on, if that's not like a narcissistic thought to have? Like what makes his genes better than you or I's? Is it that he's white? Is it that his head is a certain like head size? Like what is you see what I mean? Like I think a lot of that he has that he can be insecure about. Sure, you can get a therapist, but that doesn't mean the therapist is going to solve those problems. He's got to be willing to work on himself. And if he's a narcissist, then he probably thinks he's perfect the way he is. I would love for him to get a therapist. I think he probably desperately needs one if he doesn't have one already. But yeah, I mean, I think he's probably got plenty to be insecure about. I could get a hot boyfriend and have many friends and whatever I wanted. But and so it's like that's sort of what I was going with when we were talking about Barron, though. Is like, okay, cool. So you're friends with you're. Hang on one second. But that's what I mean as far as like Barron is like, okay, cool. So like Barron has all these people around him. If he were to leave his privilege, he would lose his friends. He would lose his wealth. He would lose his family, potentially. But like at the end of it, what is that family going to be if you change your morals for the better as a person, and that means that you lose everyone around you? Then why would you want those people to be around you? Were they really there for you in the first place? I've had people in my life that were around me and like had been like friendly towards me, and like sure, I've had like stop. Someone's ready to go outside. And sure, I've had like people in my life that were you know, were a hot partner or whatever, but like they didn't make me happy, or I didn't necessarily feel like they cared about me in the same way that somebody more meaningful or somebody with a better worldview does. So I'm gonna disagree with you there on that one. So jealous of Barron. He has the money to do anything. See, like I think I mean, like, again, the opportunity to do anything is nice, but if that opportunity comes at the destruction of countless people, then, like, what is it worth? Like, I would argue nothing. You might argue something, but then that might just be a disagreement between the two of us. But it has been 3 hours that I've been streaming. I am so happy that I had so much fun tonight and so many people joined me. I need to go to bed, and my dog is yelling at me to go to sleep. I look forward to more conversations. I'll be streaming again tomorrow earlier in the day around 11. Thank you so much for everyone today. Thanks for stopping in. I appreciate it. Goodbye, world. Everyone stay safe. Everyone make sure to drink water. Everyone make sure to stay alive out there to the best of your ability. And good night.
Soaked ground, a devil's dream. Fire